Podcast. Now we are live. So
We are live.
let me get the YouTubes up.
We are so live.
Yes, we are.
I'm not in a picture. I'll scooch over.
We can just move the camera.
I'm good. Why does it seem like it's so close?
Nothing's moved since last week.
Doesn't it seem closer?
No, I don't think anything's been moved since last week. First of all, let's move the camera a little bit. Hey, Darth.
Sure. And where are you?
I'm right here. All right. What am I doing here? Subscriptions.
Go
There
right
we-
into the fart jokes.
Oh, fart jokes, you say? I love it. Oh, do we have the brothers Jensen on here?
Well, we have Tom.
Why the fucking piece of fuck? There we go.
He thought I said fuck a lot.
Now this is the pre-show. This is not the actual episode. Hello, everyone. Yes, we're still in prep mode, but we figured, fuck it, we'll go live, and then
We'll do it live.
Yep.
That's
as
what need.
we tend to do. All right, now let me get my notes up. This is the exciting stuff, the pre-show that you don't normally get to see, but for some reason I decided to go live. All right, so there's the
Well,
notes.
that's one less thing to worry about.
See,
3PO.
never gets old. All right, new project, voice, setting up GarageBand. Oh man, I don't want to shave tomorrow. 81.
That's what contractor guy doesn't have to shave.
This one must be nice.
It is nice, Jason. It really is.
Yep. All right, reverb going down.
Why is this thing just? It decides randomly to move, and it's annoying.
Yeah, well, we got to do the redesign soon, honestly, because I need like a laptop. I need space for a laptop here. So like I can go through my notes and shit, because now I've got to have YouTube up here. I've got to have the fucking iPad hooked up here with the soundboard.
That's what she said.
And
I don't know that one was appropriate.
it wasn't, but wait, who's that? See, now I can't see the goddamn fucking chat. Fucking fuck. Oh, hey, Kathy. We haven't actually started yet. We're still
Nope.
in pre-prep mode. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Let me note the time. Note the time, motherfucker. 3:45.
Finally
Dave
didn't have
Chappelle.
to remind you.
Crazy. I'm jerking off. Nope.
What
time?
What? All right. I'm gonna turn off
Hey,
display and brightness.
one of you fuckers post on the Facebook group that we're about to go live, because I ain't got time for that shit.
My wife asked which one is the bald one.
I'm Dave.
Yeah. No. There's a reason why I wear a hat all the time.
All right, so we'll say
Nobody
we'll
want,
start.
no, that way nobody can see my receding hairline.
Okay.
No, I don't want to see how much screen time I'm on. God damn it!
This is going to be great for anybody who just actually stumbles on us on YouTube, and they're like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
You're watching the setup to a podcast. That's what you're
Yes.
watching. This is the behind the scenes.
Yeah. So this is us.
This is like, when in the news shows where they're like panning across and like the people are getting set up and there's like a voiceover guy saying, "And now for the evening news,
Yes.
it's some guy and some other guy
Yeah.
or a random girl that's ethnically appropriate to diversify the audience." Right?
We do need a female co-host on the show.
No, we do not. No, we do not.
We could see if your Andy Gutierrez gal is available.
I don't think she is.
Okay. I watched the
Hey,
Star
they're
Wars show today, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah. Or at
Which
least
one?
the announcement where they talked about Cassian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a whole. They make a separate announcement for shit like that.
All right.
There we go.
So
All right.
got this.
This won't lock up on me.
All right. So we got. Can you see? Fuck.
I wear a hat because I look like potato. Well, perhaps.
All right, I'm starting this now. So that's recording. So let's voice check real quick. Sorry, this is going to get a little bit loud. Hello.
Hello.
All right.
There we
And hold on now, let me see if the soundboard works.
I can't understand you. Go back to your country.
Okay, that's right. It doesn't blip on there, but I'm pretty sure. Did you guys hear Clayton Bigsby just now? Let us know. We added some stuff to the soundboard this week.
We, as in he. Any additions that are deemed inappropriate, it's Jason's fault.
Mm-hmm. Says the guy who said some very questionable things last week.
Hey, I was
Just talking about me being inappropriate.
Most of the time it is you, Jason. And anytime I'm inappropriate, it's your fault.
How is that my fault?
About because
Somehow me teeing you up turns you into a bigot.
I'm not a bigot. I don't.
I'm just poking the
I
bear.
may be culturally insensitive.
There you go. You're insensitive.
Myself
That's what
a bigot. Yes, I'm very insensitive.
All right.
Generally speaking, I'm insensitive to humanity. What soundboard software do we use?
It's just some fucking free thing.
Some fucking free.
You know they can hear us.
No, but it's fun to type it.
I think it's just called soundboards. Yeah. There's allegedly some good ones that you pay for, but I pay enough to keep this podcast running as it is. All right. We good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When we get to Rebels, and I'm kind of like monkey fucking through my notes and I'm trying to jog my memory and find my place, just give me silence. So this way, when the truncate silence comes on, it just takes it all out. So there's no like super awkward pauses.
I make no guarantees.
All right. You got your football stuff in here. We got the episodes. All right. Think we're good.
Yep.
All right.
Let's light this popsicle. Wait,
Okay, that's
not how it
recording.
goes.
Hold on, let me get that up. Hello, we got 7 viewers already. Okay, 30 seconds of silence, which I have nothing to fucking time it on. And it's my toast this
Well,
week.
you did. You could have used the GarageBand counter.
All right, but then I have to flip back to this, and
He is like. All right.
I'm setting my ways.
So
okay,
you have this cover on your phone to protect it. That's cracked, or is the screen cracked?
I'm pretty sure the screen underneath is also cracked.
Okay, fair enough.
One of these days I need to peel this off to find out, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the screen's cracked also. But this is my old phone, so doesn't matter. So I got the chat there. Oh, what was that? Stone bleeds? I think you meant to say. All right, we good?
I'm so glad I can't hear that.
All right, 30 seconds of silence starting now, and then it's my toast. To my liver.
To your liver.
May the force be with you. Oh, Jesus. Wow, they weren't fucking kidding.
Nope.
So we are drinking some of the Sour Monkey, the Victory Sour Monkey that Dave mentioned. This is about a month ago now that you were drinking. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to try that when I get home. Well, I'm home and Dave brought us a 6-pack and holy shit, it is fucking sour. And this is the 9% shit, right?
9.5.
Good God. So remember, I have not drank much at all over the last 9 months. I think before today, I had the equivalent of about a dozen beers between February and now. So
Does that include your episode in San Antonio
yes.
with the Oktoberfest?
Yeah, I think that only took like 5 beers to get me going that night. But anyway, that's a story for another time. So hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week in Star Killer Studios, once again, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Recovering. I'm recovering.
Recovering?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it briefly later.
Okay. So, in the meantime, what are we talking about this week?
So, what we decided after Jason actually completed the entire Rebels season, so we're going to do basically a Rebels wrap up show.
Yeah, for all of season 4, for the rest of season 4 that we haven't covered up to this point.
So we're gonna hit hopefully all the highlights and the important stuff, relationship to canon, things like that. We laughed, we cried, and everything else. So
we'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and in addition to that, we had some actual big news coming out, but we're gonna start off like we almost always do, and that's with a day in Star Wars. So as I was going to choose our day in Star Wars this week, there was a lot of good shit for the next several days. And I wanted to just like briefly hit on a few of these just to show you how important all of these are and how we could have spent, you know, a good portion of time talking about any of these. So I'll start with today, the day that we're recording this, November 12th, and that's November 12th, 1976.
okay.
So what, 6 months before the first movie was released, Del Rey publishes the first printing of the Star Wars novelization.
Before the movie came out.
Before the movie came out. So if you take a look right there,
Wow.
November 12th, 1976, the first novelization of Star Wars comes out, which is fucking insane. And we've talked about this shit before because I think they did this with Empire also. Didn't we talk about the
I think so.
Empire novelization a while back? It's like, there's no fucking way they do this nowadays. Like, could you imagine in
No.
fucking July the
Spo-
episode 9 novelization
Yeah,
hitting?
The ultimate spoiler alert.
Yeah. So
Spoiler.
yeah, in the age of the internet, there's no fucking way this happens. It just blows my mind. But that was November 12th. Now that is not the day that I picked. I also wanted to show November 13th, which was November 13th, 1984. The Empire Strikes Back is released on video cassette, CED, whatever the fuck that is, and Laserdisc.
CED. What is that?
No fucking clue. Somebody in the chat, if you know what CED stands for, this is in 1984, let us know. But it was another way to
CED.
I wonder if that's that thing that Doug was talking about the movies on record. Do you remember that when we were
I
doing?
do remember him talking about that.
Yeah.
But, all right.
So that was a big one, the first release of Empire on home video. This thing, ILM wins an award. Don't really care. November 15th, 2001, the full episode 2 teaser trailer, Forbidden Love, debuts in theaters in front of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Forbidden Love.
Which it was technically the second trailer for episode 2 that came out. Motherfucker. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about.
The capacitance electronic disc.
Wow.
Looks like a precursor to a DVD.
That's crazy. Well, I thought that's what Laserdisc was.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
So moving along, now you can see why some of these were kind of hard to choose from. And then the next one, November 16th, 2008, Robot Chicken Star Wars Episode 2 debuts on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. We've talked Robot Chicken to death, but
not to death. You can't get enough of Robot Chicken.
True. But that is not the day in Star Wars that I picked. The day in Star Wars that I picked is November 17th, 1978. Do you know what that is? Let me give you a hint.
Oh, fuck you.
You gotta let it finish playing.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have to let it finish.
November 17th, 1978. The Star Wars Holiday Special airs for the first and only time on CBS.
The first and only time. You know why? I'm gonna commit Harry Carey with this lightsaber. I don't know. Just let me.
You're gonna be working at it for a while, I think. So yes, this week is the 40th, because this was 1978, the 40th anniversary of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And wouldn't you know it, we have our own little holiday special thing coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Do we?
Yeah, because as you may or may not remember, Dave agreed to watch the holiday special one more time this year, Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, and we're gonna stream it over YouTube. It's gonna be great. We might have a few of these in the wings. Kathy, you might have to come pick Dave up at the end of that evening.
Excuse me.
So we still have to plan when we're gonna do that, but If we can manage it sometime in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, that would be great. Like line it up right with the 40th anniversary. But yes, so lots of stuff happening this week in Star Wars, and you can see why it was hard for me to choose which one to take.
I mean, honestly, I felt like you chose all of them by doing that. Like you talked about all of them.
But we didn't actually spend a lot of time discussing them. Sometimes we'll spend a few minutes discussing
Whatever.
the day in Star Wars.
Whatever.
You're just mad about the holiday special.
Fuck the holiday special. God damn it.
As he's about to watch it again.
Only by the graciousness of our listeners and friends and family.
Yeah.
And their donations. They're more than generous donations to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation is why I will suffer through this fucking shenanigans that they call some sort of special.
Yeah, well, we gotta do something to have some fun with it, because obviously I don't want it to just be you sitting there miserable. We gotta.
Oh no, I will shit talk the entire way through that thing.
Yeah.
Up until the points where I'm just like cosmically entranced by the musical stylings of what was it?
The Arthur or Jefferson Starship.
Also, yes, B. Arthur and Jefferson Starship.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So, I'm glad to see that Stonebleeds agrees with me that the holiday special is indeed canon. So,
I don't think Pablo Hidalgo or Matt Martin or anybody else agrees with you, but
all right.
What do they know?
So, speaking of our listeners, big listener shout out this week. Our man, Mark Shotgun Somerville, just got engaged last night, I believe.
Yeah, it was I think it was after the Eagles game.
Yeah, after the Eagles game, he proposed to his girlfriend and she said yes. So congratulations, Mark. I am really happy to see that.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, so congratulations.
How old is she?
Yeah,
because it seemed like there was a little disparity in age there.
Yeah,
we're not judging, but good job.
Hey, yeah, no,
way to go.
Rock on. I mean, I think the current wager is about a 15-year gap, but hey,
there was no wager. Don't worry, we didn't bet on that. Our board bets are still solidly for the Phasma appearance.
Yep, and then something else that I think you just take the $2, or did we do a double or nothing for something?
We might have. I don't know.
Jog our memory, listeners, because we don't remember shit. All right, so getting on to some news. We had some big news this week, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on it, because I have my own thoughts, and I'm curious to hear the listener thoughts as well. But in addition to Disney officially announcing the...
I just read that note.
Which one?
See, this is official news, you fucks.
Yes. Okay, and yes, so as we've mentioned time and time again, you can't trust the fucking clickbaity websites out there that say, oh, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Oh, yeah? Where was the official fucking announcement? Oh, is it in production now? Is the screenplay done? Oh, you mean it's not actually happening? Shut the fuck up. So yes, you fucking fucks out there who just take the bait on all that shit, you're idiots. And
I'm going on record as to say that so far Jason is cornering the market on the word fuck in this episode.
Yes.
So we'll see if that continues.
Yep. But yeah, because they announced it on StarWars.com. They announced it on the Star Wars show. All of the official things. And I think this was actually a Disney press release too, when they were talking about the Disney Plus, because there is now an official name to the Disney streaming service, which is Disney Plus. Kind of boring, whatever. I don't give a shit. And they announced that there is another Star Wars spinoff TV show that's going to launch on this thing. And it is a Cassian Andor spinoff. So a prequel to Rogue One, which was a prequel to Episode 4, a Cassian standalone series. So I've seen a lot of people online pretty happy about this. Let's get your thoughts first, because I'm really curious what you think, because I know you were never a huge fan of Cassian to begin with.
Well, I think my wife or my daughter, I can't remember now, but one of them, I think it was my wife, that actually said the character that Cassian plays is very like Inigo Montoya from fucking The Princess Bride. You kill my father, prepare to die.
Right.
It just the cool part is, and I think that I agree with some of the sentiment that's been in the cantina, as far as the possibility of us going to like building on other worlds and getting into other storylines where potentially we can expand our knowledge of what's going on in certain timelines.
Sure.
So it's kind of exciting to see that happen. do you center it around this character, or I don't know that maybe this character has, because of the way they allude to the fact in Rogue One that he had like a tattered past with getting to the point where he's basically a mercenary for the rebellion.
Mhm.
So there might be some interesting tie-ins there that you can have for how, even if we're looking at a Rebels style timeline, where we're talking about as the rebellion is building and growing and everything else, how the work that he did builds into what goes and happens in Rogue One and everything else. So
Yeah.
I like that the storyline can go there. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. This character, I just don't. I think there's a lot of people that would like this character, and I wasn't one of them. I just didn't. I had a problem more with the acting and like how the character was portrayed more than the actual character itself. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, as you know, I was a huge fan of Cassian within the confines of Rogue One. I thought he was a very good character. It showed the other side of the rebellion that we don't really think about or see. The fact that he is kind of an assassin, a mercenary. He kind of does what he has to for the rebellion, even though it's not the most morally ethical decisions that he has to make sometimes. Like in the very beginning when he kills that dude in the alley, because he knows there's no way this guy's going to make it out of here. So he's got to fucking execute him basically when his back is turned so he can get the fuck out of Dodge. A really interesting dynamic there as far as a spin-off TV show that takes place before, because we know Cassian dies, spoiler alert. I what story are they really going to tell? If they were going to do a prequel to Rogue One with some of these Rogue One characters, they should have done one for Chirrut and Baze. That to me would have been a much better spin-off prequel-y
You know what though?
show.
Chirrut and Baze, right? So there's all this there was all this, I don't know, sub story about like their relationship and everything else, and like the gay couple thing in Star Wars and all that. You all right over there?
I didn't think about that, but all right.
So, and that they had their own book. There was a book that came out. It was based basically on Chirrut and Baze.
Yeah.
Base. You're,
Oh yeah, the Guardian of the Wills book.
yes,
Yeah.
you get to your Sir Mix-a-Lot thing here in a minute, but I read that book because I was anticipating, like I said, I don't have a problem with the relationship or anything else. All that stuff is fine, but I expected in the book for us to get some maybe some revelations about how they kind of came together and everything else. They were already together in the book, and the book touches upon some of the racial relationships they had with orphans and things like that, and then early encounters with the Empire. No real earth-shattering or groundbreaking stuff there. I mean, it kind of fell really flat as far as developing those characters more. And so I don't know that necessarily is even a good thing. The whole Guardian of Wills aspect of it. Like I said, I don't necessarily have a problem with getting to a point in the timeline where we see where Cassian comes from, because we're centering. Apparently, there's a centering this storyline around Cassian's character, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to talk about other characters and bring other things into it. So, excuse me. So we'll see. I mean, it's like anything else. I am not getting my hopes up for any of this. I'm looking forward to, again, the possibilities of what they could be doing with this, but at the same time, I got to listen to that dumb accent for however long. It's not, like I said, Rogue One, one of the few things that bothered me about Rogue One was this particular character and how it was portrayed. It's more about the actor than it is about the character himself.
Sure.
So the fact that I have to watch this actor more than likely, he's in a movie that's getting ready to come out about I think it's on Netflix. It's like a Mexican cartel thing where he's
really?
speaking Spanish and shit like that. Totally appropriate. Looks good. It seems appropriate for the role. That doesn't seem like he's overacting at all in it, and I don't know. Whatever.
I'm gonna treat this the same way I did Resistance, where it's like, okay, I'll watch it when it comes out, and we'll see where it goes.
It's tough with Resistance too, because I think we could very easily be talking about Resistance every week, but I don't know. I'm not really emotionally invested in what's happening with Resistance right now.
Have you watched anything beyond the first episode?
I've seen little tidbits of it. If you go on StarWars.com, they have like a wrap up thing, kind of like they do with Star Wars Rebels. They're doing like an overview of each episode, so you can catch like a short, 8 to 10 minute thing. And I've seen a couple of those. I don't know. It's kind of like, to me, it seems almost like the Poe Dameron comics, where I can't really get into the story, so I have really no desire to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I mean, I think a younger audience would appreciate some of the action and things like that. I still enjoy the animation. I was hesitant with the animation when we talked about, but yeah, what the fuck? It's just not geared to me. It's not trying to get me as a viewer. It's trying to get a younger audience, and guess what? It doesn't get me, despite my maturity level, or Mark Somerville's fiance's and his maturity level. Sorry, Mark, had to bring that. It was in the chat, so I had to bring it up. But yeah, it's it is definitely newsworthy. I like also the fact that we're getting these pieces from Disney, from Star Wars, say, okay, here's what this streaming service is kind of going to be built around. We have our standalone stuff, we have the Mandalorian stuff. I'm sure there'll be more animation stuff coming out at some point. Future, I think the future is bright as far as more Star Wars content.
And yeah, they're going to need that to sell subscriptions to this Disney service. So,
well, I'll tell you what, and it's funny you say that. So I get Disney news pop-up stuff because I'm a stockholder, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I've whatever. I don't know why'd I hesitate. I don't know. My brain is like, it's not even this. I derailed myself. How fucking impressive is that I completely derailed myself? That's
too many things going on at the same time up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of synapses firing right now. Anyway, what I was going to say is Disney has, for ESPN, they have this ESPN Plus subscription service, so you can go and you can get the ESPN content without having a cable subscription. So I think Disney, because Disney owns ESPN, I think this is why they use the plus nomenclature, because they already have ESPN Plus.
Gotcha.
And it's just a way for them to, they've already got the existing infrastructure for it through ESPN. So now they're just building on it.
Yeah. And
it's developing into that, okay, you can watch Disney content without having to pay for cable.
Yep.
And to be able to get it that way, and like if you're using Hulu Live and things like that, and you don't necessarily want to pay $40, you can pay, like, for ESPN, I think it's like $6 a month.
Okay.
And you get access to ESPN content and live content too. So I think that's the basis for why the plus is the way it is. And the more they tell us about what's going to be on this network, I think the more interest they're going to develop. Like you said, they need to have content for people to subscribe.
Yeah.
And beyond, Mickey Mouse Club, 23 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's supposed to release at some time towards the end of 2019, they said. No official release date yet, but it's going to launch with at least one live action Star Wars show. And then I would imagine all of the Star Wars movies. They're still in the middle of the fucking Fox buyout, by the way. We haven't talked about that in a while.
Oh, because it's still in progress. They haven't finalized it. Although, again, those news blips have talked about how Disney is really anticipating like this thing going through. And, it's just taking a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So it could be just like a bump up for the stockholders or whatever. But that's what they're reporting anyway.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, moving on. Bit of non-Star Wars news.
I was going to say that was probably the most Star Wars we've ever talked in the first 10 minutes.
Probably
in like a long time, people.
Yeah.
A long time.
We're still staying in popular culture, but we're going into something that happened just hours ago, not very long ago, but that was the great, the one and only Stan Lee passed away today at the age of 95. So if you don't know, he was the co-creator of Marvel Comics back in the day, the 70s, and he created all of the big Marvel names, fucking Iron Man, Captain America, all of those fucking Marvel comics were all either created or co-created by Stan Lee. So he has a huge, huge, huge footprint on popular culture, going from the 70s all the way to today, because obviously you see with the fucking Avengers movies and everything else, none of that shit would exist without Stan Lee. And he's got a cameo in every one of those fucking movies too. So they pay homage to him in that way. And I'm sure they're going to go all out for the next Avengers movie. They'll do some big tribute to him, I'm sure. But yeah, it's sad. It sucks to see him go, but he was 95.
Yeah.
And I told my wife this morning, like, if I make it to 95, I'll be fucking ecstatic. I'll be happier than a pig in shit. I'll wake up every single day. Fuck yeah, I'm still alive. Woo!
And the only person that's not going to be excited about that is Kristen, because she's going to be like, "Fuck, he's still alive."
Yeah.
What a pain in my ass.
Well, I've told Kristen and the boys that I plan to outlive all of them. So
wow, that's impressive.
yeah.
Yeah, I have no such. I have. I no. I'm not living in my 90s.
Yeah.
If I do, it's by the miracle of modern science.
Right. Well, I plan to live forever, and so far so good. But
You got to read that book then that I'm listening to on Audible right now.
Yeah, but no, in all seriousness though, Stan Lee, God rest his soul, great man. Who knows what this world would be like without him right now? Because even though he mostly affected the comic book genre and the movies that spawned off the comic books, it's a snowball effect. And you got to think that the things that he did back then resonated into other different pieces of pop culture. So, he'll be missed. He was a good guy. Oh, yeah. And I just want to show one more thing. This is exclusive for the YouTube audience. But yes, that is a picture of yours truly and Stan the Man from, this is about 4 or 5 years ago. That was at the Philadelphia Comic-Con. I met him, did the VIP pass, got my picture taken with him. Nicest fucking guy in the world. Super nice. He had done a panel earlier in the day. He had said some funny shit, and right before we had that picture taken, I'm like, man, your panel was great. And he cracked some sort of joke, and he's like, yeah, not bad for a 90-year-old, and like just super, super nice guy. So yeah.
Yeah, even though I'm not a Marvel guy, I understand his impact on everything that we're talking about now, because if you think about it, where we are right now in pop culture, it's it's way more mainstream. Like you think about like what Stan Lee has impacted with Marvel and the Avengers and everything else. It's not just a bunch of comic book nerds talking about what this guy has done. It's everybody. It's everybody that whether you're I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Avengers, but understand the impact and how big these movies are, and how important it is by being good movies, they're producing better movies. Yeah, by having good content and good character development and everything else, it allows even better movies to come out, whether it be Marvel related or Star Wars and everything else, because now everything's interconnected. By having one ownership group, you got to think that I'm not saying that there'll be any kind of mashup between like Star Wars and Avengers and shit like that. If that happens, I swear to God, I'll stick that lightsaber fucking so far in my own eye socket it'll touch my fucking throat. But
did you ever watch the TV show Parks and Recreation?
I've seen episodes, yes.
Did you see the clip with Patton Oswalt and he does the whole where he's filibustering a bill, and he brings in like his theory for what's going to happen in episode 8. This was years ago, obviously, and how the Marvel universe is going to tie to the Star Wars universe.
I did not.
It was
hilarious.
I have to
see that now.
It was hilarious. Good stuff.
Oh God, Parks and Rec. That's such a good show.
Yeah. Sorry, I derailed you there.
It's okay. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. 95. You had a good run. Hopefully, all the stuff that was going on with the family and how well he's being taken care of and things like that. Hopefully, we don't hear a lot of nonsense after this. We can just let the man rest in peace, and whatever happens behind the other stuff will happen behind closed doors. But in this day and age, seriously doubt it. So
yeah, just stay off TMZ, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they're the ones that initially reported it, believe it or not.
Yep. So
anyway,
all right, moving on. We're gonna hop right into our weeks now. So for me, I got a lot of Star Wars stuff this week. First of all, after they did the Cassian TV show announcement, I went back and I watched Rogue One because I realized, I haven't seen Rogue One in over a year because I've been away from my TV, my Blu-rays and all that stuff. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll watch Rogue One. Watched it start to finish, 2 nights ago? Something like that. Great fucking movie, man. I can't get over how good that fucking movie was. It's kind of disjointed at times. And I've talked about how I'm not a huge fan of the way it paces a little bit. Like in the beginning, it's just like you're going from like planet to planet to planet really quick. And then it gets a little bit slow in the middle, and then it picks up again at the end. Overall, great fucking movie. Like,
I haven't seen it in a while either, so I'll be honest with you. my attention span has been so short lately. I don't know that I could sit through anything
Really?
right now. Yeah, so it's been tough. Like I know even uh the wife has been like, "Oh, let's sit and watch a movie." It's just like, I can't think about sitting for more than 30 minutes and actually watching something, even Star Wars related, if you can believe that. It's
Yeah.
a mental issue than anything. But yeah, it's not. It again, not to belabor the point, but the Cassian character and the way that the storyline is not necessarily the issue. I think for me, it was the actor itself.
Yeah.
So we'll see. There's no question that Rogue One was definitely, one of the better movies to come out.
Yeah.
It's such a just a yeah, from an impact standpoint with what they did with the CGI and bringing Tarkin back and things like that, it just made things really, really interesting. And we're going to talk about, I'm sure, because I saw some of your notes, when we get into the Rebels episodes, how some of these tie-ins with Rebels tied into Rogue One, things that we saw in Rogue One and things like that.
Right.
So,
yeah. And there were some expectations on my part that did not happen, but we'll get to that when we get to Rebels.
Yep.
So
this is a very Star Wars filled episode, folks.
I know. Yeah.
Believe
Sorry
it
to
or not.
disappoint you. Yeah. For everybody, it's like, well, why aren't they talking about fucking football and fucking cyclists that Dave's going to run over?
We'll get there.
Yeah. So, in addition to Rogue One, I finally actually bought Solo on fucking Blu-ray because I know we had talked about it back in September when it came out and I was going to do it, but I ended up not doing it because I didn't have any way to watch it because I didn't bring my Xbox to Texas with me. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll buy it when I get home. Finally bought it when I got home. Gotta love Amazon, man. This was Saturday evening at like 4 p.m. I'm like, I should buy Solo today. Fucking place my order. All right, you're an Amazon Prime member. Your order will be at your house at some point Sunday evening. I'm like, fucking you gotta love the world that we live in right now.
Yeah.
It's so great. Back in the day when even mail wouldn't run on Sundays. No, fucking Amazon and whatever drug deal they have with local shippers, they'll fucking deliver Saturday, Sunday, don't matter. And it'll do the next day if you're a Prime member, which is just fucking beautiful. So I ordered this. Hold on, I'm just gonna get up and get it real quick. If I can move. My legs still hurt from late day.
He's abusing his child by bringing him to the gym and working out also. Yeah. Poor Rob.
He likes it. Don't worry.
Honestly, he's moving around better than you right now. I'll give him that.
So for the YouTube audience, I got the 4K UHD Solo Special Edition thing-a-do. It also comes with the regular Blu-ray
thing-a-do
and a digital code, which is very important for the Apple people like us that are out there. So I have the movie on Apple and I've got the Blu-ray and the UHD. Pop the UHD in because I do have the Xbox One S and I have a 4K TV in here. I'm like, oh, it's going to be great. Start watching Solo, beginning. Yeah. Good stuff. Gets to the point where him and Kira get separated by that fucking door and he's screaming, she's screaming. He goes up and like, I want to be a pilot. And the disc fucking freezes. And I'm like,
get the fuck out.
And keep in mind, the disc went from this fucking case right into my Xbox. No other movement whatsoever.
Right.
And the motherfucker freezes. I'm like, shut down the Xbox, turn it back on, play again. Freezes at the exact same spot. I'm like, I don't like this. Pull out the disc, kind of lightly clean it on my shirt or whatever. Blow on it. Put it back in. Freezes at the exact same spot. I'm like, you motherfucker. I paid, $20-something for this. Got the fucking 4K UHD. The disc has never seen the light of fucking day before today. Goes from the case right into my Xbox and it fucking freezes.
So what are you going to do?
I guess I'm going to have to return the fucking thing to Amazon, which, I mean, they have a good return policy, but at the same time, it's such a fucking pain in the ass and it makes me really angry. And it's not Amazon's fault, mind you. It's clearly whoever printed the fucking discs. So yeah, I've watched Solo up to the point where he goes to join the Empire, and then that's it.
How is the 4K? Is it everything you thought it would be?
Probably not much different from a Blu-ray, if any at all. So, I mean, so I have the Blu-ray. I could just watch the Blu-ray, but it's the fucking principle of the matter at this point.
Oh, sure.
So, a little angry about that.
Obviously.
Yeah. And even though it's not on my notes, Tony Ferrari posted something today, and this kind of ties into our football talk. Sir Mix-a-Lot was not a one-hit fucking wonder. All right. Whoever says that Sir Mix-a-Lot was a one-hit wonder because the Baby Got Back, you're full of fucking shit, okay? He had multiple hits long before that. He had a record that went fucking platinum 4 years before that goddamn song came out.
Was it platinum or gold?
No, he had another record that went gold 3 years before that fucking song came out. So, fuck you. Sir Mix-a-Lot had a lot of hits beyond Baby Got fucking Back, okay? Fuck that song.
Are they playing any of those hits like currently, like in dance clubs and whatnot?
I don't fucking know. Do I look like I go to dance clubs?
Well, I mean, that's probably what is making a determination about things.
No, it's a bunch of fucking out of touch fucking white people who only got their music from MTV and fucking whatever was popular on the radio at the time. So and they're
you're
like,
an in touch white person.
Yeah, back in 1992, I was, yes, at 88 to 92. So
was Tony Ferrari even alive in 1982?
I don't know, and I don't fucking care.
Probably not,
because Sir Mix-a-Lot was not a one-hit wonder. Fuck anybody who says that he is.
That was the best part is, so what's got Jason all fired up is a post that was basically busting on the Eagles as being one-hit wonders with the likes of Billy Ray Cyrus, Vanilla Ice, who I think also had other hits besides his primary one.
Hits is relative. He only had one album that actually did well, and that was the one that Ice Ice Baby was on. He had a couple of singles that were released from that I don't know if they ever hit number one.
Jason's next podcast is going to be Sir Mix-a-Lot and other obscure circa 1990 rap referencing.
Don't even get me started on Billy Ray fucking Cyrus and that goddamn fucking song that he released.
The Achy Breaky Heart song? He's having a stroke right now.
I hated that song so much when that came out.
Who liked that song? Besides fucking...
somebody made it a fucking hit.
Man, I was going to say something and I'm not going to. I'm going to behave myself today.
From the moment I heard that song for the very first time.
Tony Ferrari's 25, by the way. He wasn't even alive.
I hated that fucking song with a passion.
I think the underwear I'm wearing right now is older than Tony Ferrari. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Or at least I have a pair of boxer shorts. Probably
the only thing that ever came good out of fucking Billy Ray Cyrus was his fucking whore of a daughter that, flashes her shit all over town every other week. But
I think she's behaving herself now.
Yeah, well, because fucking that Hemsworth guy probably kicked her to the curb because she was being such a fucking whore. And he's like, hey, clean your shit up, or I ain't marrying you.
Which one? The Thor guy?
No, Thor's brother.
Oh.
The fucking Hunger Games guy.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So anyway.
Whatever.
Squirrel. So that's my week, basically. So we'll pass it to you.
Bronco Fett likes Weird Al's version of Achy Breaky Heart better.
Achy Breaky song? Yeah, that was good. I saw him play that in concert, by the way. Weird Al, not Billy Ray. Fuck Billy Ray.
Just epic. Anyway, I was starting to say that the meme itself had Billy Ray Cyrus, Vanilla Ice,
Sir Mix-a-Lot,
and the Philadelphia Eagles as one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Which sent Jason on this YouTube posting frenzy. Like every YouTube link he could find for Sir Mix-a-Lot suddenly appeared in this thread, like within seconds. It's like he had the shit preloaded. Like, I don't know how you could even search YouTube that fast, to be honest.
Well, all I did was I'm like, okay, well, what other big songs did Sir Mix-a-Lot have besides that other fucking stupid song? And then I just immediately typed them all into YouTube.
The time you took to actually say those words it was longer than it took you to post 4 different YouTube links.
I think you might be exaggerating a little bit.
I'm not exaggerating at all. It was impressive. And especially considering it was a bust on the Philadelphia Eagles, and it turned into a whole life of its own with Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
So Baby Got Back. Anyway, hang on. I got something for this.
That's what she said.
Probably not relevant, but
soundboard.
All right. So my week. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember what the hell happened last week. Like everything is just a blur of work and homework and pain management because I'm an idiot. So I'm going to bypass, because really the larger effects of my week are it just falls out of my hand. That's right. What happens. The larger parts of my week happened over actually within the past fucking 24 hours, which is unfortunate. But so we'll talk about, hey, Bronco Fett's a Weird Al fan as well.
Sweet. I've only seen him 3 times, so you got me beat.
That's good. I
like how you were restraining what you were gonna say, because
that's a good thing. No, yeah. I don't. I enjoy Weird Al, but seeing him in concert really wouldn't do it for me.
He puts on a really good show.
I'll bet he does.
I think you'd be entertained.
I'll bet he does. I'm sure I would be. Anyway, so I'm going right to the football stuff because that's really what I can remember from the week.
Mm-hmm.
So we can point out the fact that Bronco Fett makes yet another appearance on the television.
Yep.
Because why the fuck wouldn't they show him on television? He's fucking awesome.
Yep.
And the Broncos win. The Penn State wins, which as they should have. Although the game was way closer than it was supposed to be. I can't even remember who they played right now. Oh, Wisconsin. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Wisconsin handily too, by the way. It's like, we're great. They're suddenly a fucking football team. You know, they're gonna oh god, it's so fucking annoying. You refer to my rant from last week about Penn State and the woes there. They'll get to go. Somebody said it in the cantina. They'll be at the and that was a closed chat that I was having with somebody else. It was they're going to like a Bob's Furniture fucking bowl or some bullshit. It's I'm sure they'll play on December 28th. So Rutgers loses some trucking school. I'm not surprised because Rutgers that's what they do. They lose football games. Let me talk about the Eagles. See, now what should have happened here, if Jason was an actual Michigan fan, Jason would have piped up and said, wait a minute, Michigan's not a trucking school or some variation thereof. What I'm exposing here is the fact that Jason doesn't even have a fucking clue besides the coach who's even on the Michigan fucking football team. So this was
a setup.
It was a setup.
Like he had the floor, so I just didn't want to interrupt.
Whatever. Like that's ever stopped you before. Total setup and it worked. So let your fucking Michigan boys out here defend you for whatever reason. But to answer Bronco Fett's question, no, Rutgers football doesn't know how to win because they have some fuckface goddamn Ohio State coach. I don't even want to get into it. Talk to that in a minute. So let's talk about the Eagles real quick, because this is the crux of everything right now.
Yeah.
You can see me for the YouTube audience. I'm sporting Bronco Fett's favorite sweatshirt. It's his fakeness is acceptable. No, it's not. Big Lovin'. No, it's not. You can't defend Jason. Even if it's just to piss me off. So I'm supporting my Eagles football team, which the salute to service shit, like, as I said last week, it's great. Thank God for truncated silence, because that'll get eliminated. But
well, I'll start us off by saying that I went to bed just after halftime when the game was tied. I'm like, Eagles got this. Cowboys fucking suck. I hate the fucking Cowboys. Always have. No joke about it. Fuck the Cowboys. Jerry Jones he needs to fucking die already. Like, he needs to die, not Stan Lee. But yeah, so I'm thinking, Eagles got this. They came back, they tied it up. I'm sure they'll run away with it. They were at home too, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, no big deal. Went to bed, woke up this morning. Was not the case.
So I had something for this, and the reality of the game, and I've really been trying to avoid it. I put in the notes the Eagles a season lost. This was a critical football game, and the coaching staff coming off of a bye week, off of a good win in London, and came into this week. They should have annihilated the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not a good team.
Right.
They have a good running back. Well, I hate to say that because he's a fucking suck-eye.
Suck-eye?
Again, this is a college football reference, okay, Jason, gotcha. That you wouldn't understand. So the reality is that this is an NFL football team that, regardless of injuries and things like that, understanding that the secondary is depleted with injuries and is even worse so now because of ACL tear. Oh, I was going to tell you to put me on the clock for 75 seconds, but don't bother. The reality is this: the coaching staff failed the Eagles this week. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. This bullshit. Anybody who was watching a game where you have you have 4 rushers, you put a linebacker, a few yards off the line of scrimmage, and then 12 yards behind all them is 6 defenders standing on the line of gain to basically it's like what I want to make a joke about, like the Maginot line. What does the Eagles secondary and lined up on the first down marker and the Maginot line have in common? They both don't work.
Yeah,
it's the reality is that from a defensive standpoint and even from an offensive standpoint to in certain regards, they are running. This is a very like Andy Reid like style, like, all right, Doug Peterson, I'm seeing some versions of Andy Reid in him right now, where it's I'm going to run my plays and this is the formation we're going to run, and this is going to work regardless of the personnel in there. And God forbid, it's almost like a Chip Kellyism too. It's like, I don't care who I put. His plays work no matter who's running them. That was Chip Kelly's thing. And the reality is completely opposite, as we saw in the game. Like, the offense didn't do a goddamn thing until the 4th fucking quarter.
Right.
And Dallas pulled out all the stops. Dallas wanted to win that game more. It meant more to them to win that fucking game in Philly than it did to the Eagles. And it blows my fucking mind. You're the defending Super Bowl champions, and you go out there and you mean to tell me that this defensive coach can't fucking make an adjustment? He's gonna play this prevent on 3rd down, and they're gonna, every fucking buddy that was watching that goddamn game, the millions of viewers that are watching NBC Sunday Night Football, knew they're going to throw a fucking screen. If I got 6 defenders fucking 14 yards away from me, guess what? I'm going to throw a screen, get ahead of steam, and try and knock somebody over, because some fucking 175-pound cornerback is not going to stop a 225-pound running back at full speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen, especially when these fucktards fucking tackle anymore. It's ridiculous. Wrap a motherfucker up. Don't fucking throw your shoulder into him with your fucking head turned. How are you going to make a tackle that way?
Mm-hmm.
Wrap up with your fucking head up. This is football 101. I have a high school level football education, and I could see these fucking plays from a mile away. It's bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. Oh, by the way, you know what else is bullshit? Fucking Chris Collinsworth. That motherfucker needs to fall in an age tree and die. I can't stand that fucking worthless ass fucking wide receiver wannabe from fucking Cincinnati who, what did he do in his fucking football career? Not a goddamn thing. And all he does is get up there. He was jerking off fucking Jerry Jones and every fucking Cowboy. Even when the goddamn Eagles made a good fucking play, Chris Collinsworth was like, oh, well, the Cowboys defense did this, this, and this. How about the fucking Eagles actually made a good fucking play instead of you talking about the goddamn Cowboys? Fuck you, you fucking fuck. I want you to get fucked by a fucking razor blade of dicks.
That sounds painful.
Fuck that asshole. God. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have saw my some of my fucking.
Did you tweet it at him? Did you like tag him or anything?
He's not on fucking Twitter. And you know what? He shouldn't be, because he'd fucking probably commit suicide with as many people as hate him.
Yeah.
Him and Joe Buck. But Chris Collinsworth notwithstanding, the fucking Eagles just didn't make adjustments. Their secondary now, they're going to be bringing up fucking practice squad people to play in their fucking secondary. It's pathetic. Even if they had pulled that game off, Wentz is actually playing well. Aside from that interception early, the offense will bring itself around. If you don't have people in the secondary that are going to, like, there's no way that if you're constantly worried about the deep ball, if you're putting your corners fucking 7-8 yards off of the wide receivers, they're going to catch the slants. They're going to get fucking first downs. They're going to drive the ball. And if you're lucky, they're only going to get field goals. But most of the time, you're going to score. Like, that's what good teams do. You know what's going to happen against the fucking Saints? Oh my God. What the over is going to be on that fucking game is going to be ridiculous.
So that's who they're playing next week?
Yeah, Drew Brees is going to destroy them. He's going to destroy that defense unless Jim fucking Schwartz, speaking of the goddamn Lions, they're fucking whoever brought that up, who's a Lions fan. Guess what? Your fucking shitbag Jim Schwartz coach is showing his ass right now. He's showing his fucking ass. It's a miracle we won the goddamn Super Bowl with his fucking dumb ass. In fact, it is a miracle because our defense let up so many fucking points in the championship round and in the fucking Super Bowl. We're lucky we won. It was a goddamn offense that won those games, not the defense. Yeah. You're not fucking Jimmy Johnson, our Jim Johnson for the Eagles, not that fucking fucktard that was with Dallas. I'm talking about one of the best fucking defensive coordinators ever.
Yeah.
You're not him, Jim Schwartz. You have an extremely talented front four that you're going to beat those ponies till they're fucking dead and not put anything behind them. Jordan Hicks is a great linebacker. Is he as good as fucking Boise State's homeboy? Yes, better. Your rookie had a fucking good game. Good for you. Good for Boise State. Good for them to have a nice rookie out there to bring some visibility to your school. And I'm not taking anything away from that guy.
Yeah.
But for fuck's sake, dude, this is a Jim Schwartz and his fucking Detroit mentality. This is why he was a loser in fucking Detroit, and he needs to go. He needs to fucking go.
Yeah,
I get it. You know, going into this that you have one of the worst secondaries in the league. You know this. So what do you do to make an adjustment? What do? Do you pretend like you have all the fucking tools you need? Because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And is that working out for us? Fuck no, it's not. Because we have 5 fucking losses.
Mm-hmm.
So is the season over for the Eagles? No, it's not. Technically, it's not.
It seems like a pretty weak division overall. So
yeah, but you still have to fucking win football games.
That is true.
They showed a graphic on there last night that the fucking Eagles have the 3rd hardest schedule in the league left, or second or third.
Oh, remaining
games. They're playing Washington twice, who's in first place.
Well, they need to win those games.
No shit.
Like if they want
to, still have to play the Cowboys again and play the Giants again.
Yeah. So they got to win all those games. Well, hopefully the 49ers help you guys out tonight and beat the Giants and just keep them kind of at the bottom of the barrel.
That's fine as long as OBJ goes off. I'm fine with the Giants losing as long as OBJ goes off tonight because I really want to beat Snetty. Fuck that guy in fantasy. Anyway,
all right.
That's it. That's look, I'm fucking Eagles. I swear to God.
So
but whatever. I will make the comment that because as bad as that loss was, and fuck, I hate losing to the fucking Cowboys. I've hated it my entire life. I was born and bred to hate the fucking Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Since I put the first piece of Keller Green on my body.
Oh, trust me, as somebody who's been a 49ers fan since the 80s, my love for the Cowboys or my hatred for the Cowboys, I should say, is pretty high. So I'm right there with you.
So fun fact, it's a Lions long sleeve shirt under a Bronco Fett costume. Well, that's unfortunate. But God, what did the Eagles and Beavis and Butthead have in common? They haven't scored. Oh, you know what? Fuck you.
All right.
Just fuck you.
Before we get back to Star Wars, do you want to bring up the whole spinoff?
I do. So one of the things Jason and I have been talking about, actually, because as much as I love ranting about football this time of year, because that's what I end up doing a majority of the time. Mm-hmm. I have been doing since I was a child. We're kicking around the idea of having a football podcast, like a separate football podcast, like, you know, call it what you will. You know, nerds talking about football, or, you know, whatever. I had some clever things I put on paper, but I think because this is a Star Wars podcast, and this week, especially with the Rebels episode, even though we have all the time in the world, I don't necessarily want to eat up the time with a bunch of football stuff. Sure. And I think a football specific one, because we know what we're doing next year. We're doing a fantasy league for the
listeners,
Star Wars podcast,
for the Cantina.
You know, it's, you know, home in the Sidebar Cantina. So we know that's going to happen. So we could do, you know, come football season, we can talk about fantasy. We can talk about the Eagles, talk about the 49ers, talk about college football, and stuff like that. And, you know, take a half hour, 45 minutes, nothing too long, nothing crazy, but like kind of get this out of our Star Wars podcast and do something separate. So
Yeah.
we're kicking around the idea, and we're curious about some feedback from you guys. So we'll I'd like to say Big Lovin says we all hate them too.
Yeah.
And who the fuck likes the Cowboys?
Basically, it's like if you're not a
besides
Cowboys fan,
jerk-offs?
if you're not a Cowboys fan, then you probably hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And it goes the same way for like the Yankees, the fucking Red Sox, a lot of sports teams out there. If you're not
There's
a
a
fan
lot-
of them, then you hate them.
There's a lot more people. The only people that really hate the Sox are probably Yankees fans.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Sox have a more general, like, because there's a lot of transplants that come from the New England area.
Sure.
But Yankees fans are fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Yankees fans, Patriots fans. No, I can't put Patriots fans and Yankee fans in the same thing. Honestly, I hate the fucking Yankees. I hate the Yankees.
Most people do, unless they're a Yankees fan.
I hate the Yankees probably more than I hate the Cowboys. That's a strong statement.
Wow.
I fucking hate the Cowboys. I throw batteries at fucking Cowboys. I would. Wait till their helmets are off too.
And this is your typical Philly fan. So
It's not
here
the
we go,
typical Philly fan. Look, I'm going to say this too. And this is the last we'll bring up. Like, give us your feedback on the potential for a football podcast.
Yeah.
And let us know. Hit us up on Instagram at All Things Star Wars Pod.
Or in the private Facebook group.
Yeah, or in a Facebook group. Or wherever you can get hold of us, hit us up.
Yeah.
I was talking to some other Eagles fans that are up at work, right? Guys that are from like, the greater tri-state area and grew up in the tri-state area. So we were talking about what old Veteran Stadium used to be like. As a kid who grew up in the 700 level, that's where all that stuff came to be. Why there was a jail in Veteran Stadium, all those
That's
things.
the greatest story in the
all
world.
those things happened because of the 700 level. And the fact that when you were in that fucking part of the stadium, you couldn't see the fucking game. They didn't have these huge mega screens that they have now. They had what was called the Fanavision, and the Fanavision would be like, from where we were sitting generally, it'd be like watching a 37-inch TV from, 25 yards away. Oof. So you're not really catching much.
Right.
So, and there's no replay. You had everybody who was in the 700 level had, they usually used us kids as pack mules to bring in fucking, cans of beer and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they brought a radio. They had binoculars and radios. And that's how they fucking, when you're in the stadium, you have to listen to the radio to see what's going on with the fucking game with a pair of binoculars. And all you're doing is drinking all day especially after tailgate. Christ. What the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
It was that all-purpose stadium that had seats that were so fucking high up that you couldn't see the goddamn game. It was pointless. When they moved to the Link in 2002, you have 70,000 people, 70,000 capacity, and even in the worst seat, you can actually watch the football game. Right. And that's the difference. People are engaged with the game now instead of, at the Vet when you couldn't see the game, and if you went to go to concessions, you couldn't see the game either. But now in these new stadiums, there's no real standing room at the Link. I mean, you can go to certain spots and still see the game, but the reality is you can be anywhere in that stadium and actually have a good football experience.
Sure.
And that's what the difference is. It's not the same environment. Now, don't wear a bunch of Cowboys shit and go walking through the fucking parking lot, because chances are you're going to get hit with shit. And if it's a 4:00 game, they open up parking lots at 10.
Oh, Jesus.
So
Christ.
the difference between a 1:00 game and a 4:00 game, as far as drunkenness goes, epic. Yesterday, for a Cowboys game at 8:00, there was some mega tailgating going on. And this is one of the, I almost was going to StubHub and see if I get into the game, because we live really close to the stadiums, the stadium complex.
We could probably hear the fucking stadium sounds from here, like the cheering and the fucking.
Not the cheering, but you can hear the fireworks.
Yeah.
Because I know I can hear them from my house. The chances of, if they lost, having to come out of that stadium after a loss, because you would have stayed till the very end, because the fourth quarter is when all the shit was happening, was still close.
Yeah.
So all those motherfuckers were staying right to the end.
Yeah.
And to just be there and watch it in person, having spent any amount of money, I would have been murdering people. So
yeah.
Anyway, Jason has to pee. He's holding up the sign, but
yes. So, but I will wait until the football talk is completely done.
I'm done. I didn't want to even talk this long about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, give us your feedback on a football podcast. Big Lovin's got some D-cell batteries. That's a whole nother story. That was the JD Drew game for the Phillies, not the Eagles game. But don't give away flashlights at a fucking at an event. So
and Kathleen wants to remind you that Christmas is coming. So
what does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means. All right, go
maybe she'll buy us tickets to an Eagles game. Are the 49ers coming to town this year?
No, not this year. They were here last year.
I know, and I keep meaning to go to one of those games. But anyway, so yeah, that being said, let us know what you think about the spinoff podcast. This way we can kind of delineate the football talk from the Star Wars talk. And this way, if anybody finds us thinking we're just like a purely Star Wars podcast, and then they get half an hour in, they're like, they're talking about football an awful lot. I thought they were talking about Star Wars.
Right.
We can kind of break that up a little bit.
Yes.
Until then, we are going to take a very quick break, and we will be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Has it been an hour already?
It has.
See,
crazy, huh?
It is crazy.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Good job, old man.
It was leg day a couple days ago.
Never skip leg day. Fucking. Will it stay under the ATS, bro? Yes, it will. So my vision is for it to be like a sidebar cantina thing for the football podcast. So either be like, hang on, I had some good ideas for like titles. Hang on, go back to my text messaging with Jason. Yes, we had Hoagie Dip and it was great. So like Monday morning quarterback at the ATSW Cantina, nerds talk football in the sidebar cantina, something like that. It would definitely be the under the All Things Star Wars umbrella for sure. It just I was thinking about it, and I have I could talk about football for a while, especially because obviously I'm passionate about it, and as we are in these longer episodes in the studio, the constraint to actually not talk about football and shit is like gone. So, and like this week in particular with the Rebels episode, it was like there's a lot of really good Rebel stuff to talk about. There's a lot of Star Wars news going on, and I love talking about the football stuff, but the reality is we got Star Wars to talk about. That's what we're here for. So we have ourselves a separate football talk, we would more than likely tape it the same day. So for you guys to jump on, we probably, if we taped it on a Monday night, we'd probably end up missing the Monday night game, but we're not really necessarily talking about all the teams. And once our All Things Star Wars Fantasy League starts up, we're not going to, we'll talk some fantasy stuff, but not necessarily go into like in-depth strategy shit. Just be like, winners and losers for, what's going on with the league.
Yeah, like who went fucking ape shit like Ben Roethlisberger did this week.
Yeah, goddamn.
So,
well, in a PPR league that I'm in, Zach Ertz got me over 40 points and has kept me relevant going into the Monday night game. Because I decided to I bench Baker Mayfield and he fucking decides to go off. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Sports Bar Cantina.
I like it.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming. We'll definitely we'll make a list of what we like. But yeah, it's like I said, I feel like I don't want to take away from the Star Wars in our Star Wars podcast. It's fun. The shtick is fun, and the ranting is fun for sure. And God knows I love to talk about that shit. But I think it warrants. We talk enough football.
Yeah.
And we'll get Jason actually to watch some football and maybe actually learn some things about college football as opposed to the absolute nothing he knows now, as proven earlier.
I know that Jim Harbaugh is the coach of Michigan. And that they are, or at least they were, number 4 as of last week. I don't know where they are this week, if they're still hanging at number 4 or what. And they were the only team that wasn't undefeated that was in the top 5.
So what, did you see Sports Center for like 5 minutes while you were working out? Is that where you got that from?
I just pulled up a website.
Do you even know You know what? It's not even worth getting into.
I know one of those fucking Alabama teams with all the fucking rednecks down there. They're the top teams, as they always are every fucking year for some reason.
It's because of Nick Saban.
It's the fucking inbreeding.
No,
Yeah.
I mean they recruit from everywhere. It's just Nick Saban. I hate the fucking SEC. I'm a Big Ten guy, obviously, so I hate the SEC anyway. But Jason doesn't understand the nuances of the difference between Big Ten football and SEC football and ACC and the Mountain West and everything else. Jason is.
Aren't they all fucking football teams?
See, like there's nothing going on. So
all right, do you need to?
No, I'm good.
All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and get back to
I say that now, and in like 5 minutes I'll have to pee, so I'm just gonna end up leave you hanging.
All right, so again, I'm assuming you didn't watch these again.
I'll get to it.
Okay. So just give me silence as I'm going like through my notes and shit. In fact,
you're gonna make your own noise. I'm not gonna have to do shit.
All right. So, all right. Give me, what time is it? Where's the fucking clock? Oh, these fucking beers, man.
It was on the screen. What you're only like 1.5?
Yeah. Tolerance is low. I will say 36. All right, give me about 30 seconds. Nah, we'll say 20 seconds, and then we'll get back to it. And we're back. So, all that football talk out of the way, we're now getting to our main topic today, which is the end of Rebels season 4. So, we've been building up to this for a good portion of the year. We've already
the end of Squiggly Joe and
Little Billy.
Was it Little Billy?
Yeah, something like that, or Little Bobby, something
Little
like
Bobby.
that.
That's Little Bobby.
Kanan and Ezra. I know who they are now. So, yeah, we're finishing it up, and we're gonna kind of we're going to focus more on certain areas than others. So he's in here.
When we get to that part,
Dave, this is again for the YouTube audience.
We'll have some role playing. With a little Bobby and Thrawn.
Yeah. So we're going to blast through some of this shit, and then we're going to go through the others in a little bit more detail. First of all, we're starting with episode 9. We've done the first 8 episodes, and now we're just finishing season 4. Episode 9 is called Rebel Assault. Not a whole lot happens in this episode. It's mostly Hera in an X-wing with a bunch of other X-wings from the Rebel Alliance try to get back onto Lothal because it's fucking surrounded now. The Empire is fucking balls deep into Lothal at this point.
Nice.
I mean, there's fucking Star Destroyers.
That's what she said.
There's fucking Star Destroyers everywhere. They've got all kinds of space stations and shit. Lothal is on full fucking lockdown. And she's got to try to blast back into Lothal, which I can't even remember why. It's irrelevant at this point. She gets shot down. A lot of the fucking people coming in. Oh, that's right. They were trying to lead an attack on the fucking factory, which that's been the whole driving factor for a good portion of the last couple of seasons is they want to destroy the TIE Defender Elite factory. So
Thrawn's baby.
Yes.
Exactly. Which we know this is Thrawn's, like, we win the war with the TIE Defender. This is everything. Thrawn has everything tied into this.
Which in one of these first episodes, Tarkin comes back and he even mentions to Thrawn, like, hey, we're thinking about diverting resources from your fucking project to Stardust, which we'll talk about a little bit. But yeah, so this is an attempted attack on the fucking factory. Hera's in a bunch of X-Wings, or Hera and a bunch of people are in X-Wings, and they got Y-Wings tailing them. So the X-Wings are going to try to blow a path. Y-Wings go in, bomb the shit out of the factory, and get out of Dodge. Well, that didn't quite happen.
So, sidebar, the fucking Y-Wings, right? As we've watched Rebels, like, they've made the Y-Wings out to be this fucking ultra vessel.
Yeah.
For Y-Wings were a bunch of bitches in the fucking New Hope.
Yeah.
Like, they were shit boxes. Like, the fact that in Rebels we're looking at the Y-Wings is like, oh, this is one of the things that's going to devastate the Empire. Like, and then you get to A New Hope and they're just fucking like getting destroyed so fucking fast.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why all the fucking hype over the Y-Wings?
Well,
Honestly.
and even in this episode, they didn't do shit because they
No.
did eventually break a hole in, but Thrawn anticipated it, sent some other ties to come at him from the opposite way once they passed the blockade, still fucking took him down. Every single Y-Wing taken out. Just fucking the whole attack was just fucking
the blockade.
Yeah, the blockade, which was perfectly legal. Hold on. What do you think about that, Clayton?
I can't understand you. Go back to your country.
So anyway,
God damn it.
so like Hera and one other X-Wing pilot survived, which he was some fucking kid. I think we've seen him before throughout the series. A very forgettable character. They crash land on the planet. Kanan's like, oh, I love her. I got to go find her and all this stuff. Not a whole lot happens beyond Hera getting captured at the end by Governor Price.
Right.
After she crash lands. And I even wrote in my note, forgettable. A lot of wolves again. We see the wolves a lot that we've seen, the Loth wolves over the whole season. They show up to Kanan again, talk to Kanan. And I guess we're led to believe that they tell him kind of what his fate is. Because we find that out in the next episode, in episode 10, which is... It is the episode Doom, not Doom, which is what I always think every time I hear that fucking wolf say Doom. No, it's Dume, which is Kanan's original last name. He was Caleb Doom, I think was his full name.
Yeah, Caleb. Yeah.
Yeah, before he went into fucking hiding. But episode 10 is Jedi Night, not night like the Knight with a K, but night like night, day and night.
Like,
so
good night.
yes, which it's a pun, it's a play on words. So
very clever.
Yes. Never would have thought of that. It starts off with fucking Governor Price just torturing the shit out of Hera. She's got Hera captive. She's just this evil fucking bitch, just torturing the shit out of her.
This is when the ugliness of Price actually fits her, because she definitely looks like an ugly bitch.
Yeah,
and she's acting like an ugly bitch in all this.
Which the shame of it is I pictured her to be a lot more attractive when I was reading the first Thrawn book.
We've definitely made that point.
Yep. Then Kanan, for some reason, decides he doesn't want to look like a fucking homeless man anymore. He shaves his fucking beard, cuts his fucking hair.
Well, so I watched to prep for this. I didn't get to watch all the episodes again, but I did watch the Rebels recap that StarWars.com had put out
for all of the episodes.
Yeah, for all these episodes.
Okay,
and they did 2 episodes at a time when they did these. So
smart.
And honestly, the Rebels recap, they did more. The recap for the show was literally like 90 seconds. Like even for the finale, it was like 90 seconds. But they spent a lot of time talking to the cast and crew, like Dave Filoni and the voice actors and everything else. So one of the things that they talked about was with Kanan going through that scene, like having the Loth wolves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I said it and then it sounded wrong coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
The Loth wolves communicating him and him basically having a premonition through the Force, because we know that Lothal is ripe with Force energy. And for Kanan, having a glimpse of what his future potentially is going to be, they speculated, Dave Filoni and the animators and those people, they speculated that this was Kanan going back to a more pure version of himself. Like, okay, I'm going back to the aesthetics of when I was not necessarily Kanan, but when I was a young Jedi,
like Caleb Dune.
Yeah. And so he went and back into like, all right, I'm shave the face, get rid of stupid squiggly Joe goatee and the fucking gay ass ponytail. And he decides that, all right, I'm going to go into this, like, not necessarily knowing what the outcome is going to be, but having an idea that it could be that, and freeing himself of everything that would potentially prevent him from fulfilling his destiny.
Yeah. And right after this scene with him grooming himself, we see that scene with Tarkin talking to Thrawn. This is, by the way, the only time we saw Tarkin this whole fucking season. He's talking to Thrawn, and he was talking about Director Krennic, and he was talking about Project Stardust and how we're talking about moving resources from your thing over to Project Stardust and all that, which I had just watched fucking Rogue One the day before I watched these. So I'm like, oh my God, this is great. The tie-ins, because obviously Stardust is the fucking Death Star. Go rewatch Rogue One, you fucking people.
Why is it their fault?
It's not, but I'm sure some people are like, what do they mean Project Stardust? I don't understand. It's like, come on.
I don't know. Such angst against our listening audience. I'm willing to bet that they've seen Rogue One.
I'm not the one who called our listeners the F word last week. So
that was football related, not Star Wars related.
Okay, fair enough. But
fucking Jason.
But yeah, and then Tarkin basically tells Thrawn, like, hey, Palpatine wants to talk to you. You've been fucking up. He wants to know what's going on. Come to Coruscant. So fucking Thrawn's just like, all right, I'm out. So he takes off, and we don't see him again until the fucking finale, I think.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Now, Kanan has a bunch of lines of dialogue with Hera when he goes to rescue her. And my note here says Kanan is acting like he knows he's going to die.
Right.
And
again, they allude to it like that he's foresaw that he has to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
So he's going into this. The potential is there where he can save himself. I mean, we see that as everything unfolds.
Yep.
But he knows that that's not his destiny.
Yeah. So we have this moment where he rescues Hera. She tells him she loves him, which we've been kind of building towards this all season. Though we've known about the relationship. They've kissed and done all that stuff. But then they were kind of building to this whole I love you thing, even though she was like fucking basically drunk, because they brought out Dr. Ball for the interrogation. So Dr. Ball came out, injected her with the fucking mind juice, and she's all like, woo, she's all fucking drugged up and shit.
I love you.
Yeah, so Kanan rescues her when she's all fucking high. And eventually she says, I love you. He's like, oh, it's just the fucking drugs talking. And she's like, nope, this is really me. And we get to the point where they're on top of one of the fucking fuel cells that's fueling all of the TIE Defender factory. These massive fucking just globes of fucking Tabana gas or whatever the fuck it was, waiting for their pickup from the rest of the rebels. Governor Price sees that and she's like, fucking fire on that fuel tank. And even though like her advisor's like, we really want to do that, that's what's powering all of our fucking factory and everything, she's like, fucking destroy it, shoot it. Kanan fucking stops the fireball from incinerating everybody, pushes Hera and the fucking rescue shuttle away, and sacrifices himself, and Kanan fucking dies. And I was really surprised at how upset I was about this moment, because up to this point, I didn't think I was that invested in these characters. But then when I realized that Kanan was dead, I'm like, oh, that really fucking sucks. And I was more upset about it than I thought I was going to be at this point, because I kind of assumed most of these people were going to die by the end of the season. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But then when it actually started happening, especially with somebody as pivotal as Kanan, I'm like, oh, fuck, that really sucks.
Yeah, this goes to show that the Rogue One initiation of like, hey, we're willing to sacrifice these characters and we don't necessarily see later in the canon.
Yeah.
It's just proving that they're not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
One of the things that they said in the Rebels Recon, when we were talking to the cast and crew about the Kanan thing, what's interesting is that Filoni held that part of the story, like basically the last 2 pages or something like that of the script,
just like kept it secret.
Yeah, they kept it secret. So until they actually did the read, that the characters didn't know that Kanan was going to die. So because they wanted genuine emotion, and Filoni wanted this genuine. Apparently, he's done this a handful of times, because they talk about it in the finale too, when Ahsoka and everything else makes her come back. So Filoni is proving that he's not afraid. What's vibrating? Is that you?
Oh shit, that was me. What the fuck? Somebody was calling me.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I'm like hearing it, kind of like
I'm like looking at my shit. Like, what the?
It sounded like a printer at first.
Well, yeah, a dot matrix printer that we haven't fucking used in what, a decade and a half.
Yeah, so it was a 316 area code. Where the fuck is 316? It's probably some fucking.
It's probably Bob Hugan calling to yell at you for not voting for him.
Yeah, right.
Bronco Fett, did you vote for Bob Hugan?
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy to not have those ads anymore.
Yeah, right. Anyway, the point is that the cast, and they treated this as like Filoni treated this just as the same way you'd want to do it, like if this were a sitcom or something like that. Like the surprise of the character's death, the emotion from the actors at somebody not necessarily going to be with them, the family being like, this is the first main character of the Ghost crew that they've offed.
Yep.
So it was a huge impact, and it was meant to have a huge impact. So, and they also said from the beginning that this was something that Filoni's probably wanted from the beginning. Like, this is how Kanan was going to go.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of when, because we talked about it when we started doing Rebels, that like it was a kind of a premature ending. Like, they didn't necessarily, like, it was like, okay, this is going to be the last season all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so, okay, they went into season 4. They knew it was going to be their last season, but I think that much like Clone Wars had a much longer run, and I think they were maybe anticipating that. I'm not sure, but
sure, yeah.
But the reality is, I think that they started cutting the script for this and probably getting characters to their completion, as it were. Hang on. Oh, you closed it.
I didn't close anything.
You closed the soundboard.
There it is. I don't know why I did that.
Jason, technical difficulties. Did that even work?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Dave. Okay. Oh
said.
my God. Why are you doing this?
You have it backwards. What do I have backwards? What's backwards? I don't know.
Who's saying this?
Rebels had a planned run. Oh, all right. In Clone Wars 10. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So thanks, Big Lovin', for correcting me.
Yeah.
Lord knows I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But anyway, so interesting look behind the scenes. I would highly, I think I said this last time, but the Rebels recon was actually fairly good to watch for a short thing. Gives you like just a brief synopsis of the episode, and then gets into talking to Dave Filoni and the Pablo Hidalgo and the voice actors for their actual, like, how they felt during the scenes and some of the actual animation and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, really emotional moment. And it kind of resonates through the rest of the season, because the whole next episode, episode 11, which was Doom, was basically the crew dealing with his fucking death. Like, everybody's all beaten down. They don't know what to do. Wolves come and talk to Ezra again, and you kind of get the feeling that one of the wolves might actually be Kanan in wolf form now, as he's talking to fucking Ezra and trying to, like, tell him, like, this is what you need to do next. The only other thing that happens in this thing that I took note on was Thrawn finds out what happened as far as, like, Price destroying the fuel cell, and he calls back through a hologram while he's on Coruscant, and he's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like, he is fucking ready to rip her a new asshole as soon as he gets back.
I'll deal with you when I get back.
Yeah. Yep. So, like, you can tell there's some shit going down there, and you know, he's not gonna, like, cut her any fucking slack at this point, regardless of the relationship they've had up to this point. Like, you can tell he's fucking furious.
Thrawn was using Price as a pawn to get what he wanted. So.
Sure. And Price thought the same thing about Thrawn. You know, she was using Thrawn for her own means.
Exactly. And we've, you know, having read the Thrawn books and, you know, Thrawn and Thrawn alliances, that we know the background going into that. You know, how Price's ambitions got her to where she is, and in some ways got Thrawn to where he is. Now, given all that, we also know that the Emperor, the way he pulls strings to manipulate everything that happens in this Star Wars universe, because we've talked ad nauseum about what the Emperor's gift is, and that's the ability to manipulate people, you know, in a way that's the most advantageous to him.
Oh, sure.
So I'm sure Price thought it was her idea, and I'm sure Thrawn thought it was his idea, but ultimately it was most likely the Emperor.
Sure.
You know, putting things in line. And as we get into the next episode, where is it the next episode? The one with the
portal?
Yeah, with the Mortis gods and that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the next episode is Wolves and a Door. And this is a really interesting one because it takes place at the Jedi Temple, because at the end of the last episode, the wolves are basically telling Ezra, you need to go to that Jedi Temple that you and Kanan found on Lothal, and some shit's going down there, and this is going to kind of lead us to the end. And long story short, Empire's taken over that area. They're trying to get into the fucking temple, but they've also found like some fucking weird portal-y thing that's supposed to connect all space and time in the cosmos that the Emperor is really trying to get his fucking hands on. And it's all behind this like artwork, right? You've got this the father, the son, and the daughter. These three images. And did you notice that the fucking son looks like an Inquisitor? Did you notice that in the artwork? And
well, there's a whole background thing to those Mortis gods that apparently Filoni talks about, that Lucas created this entire story arc for in Clone Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is something we haven't gotten to.
Oh.
And so there was all this development. So Filoni basically brought that into Rebels as part of it's not necessarily just a Jedi thing. This is a Force thing.
Oh,
and so again, we're seeing how Lothal is so pivotal, you know, with in Jeddah, right?
From Rogue One.
Yeah, from Rogue One.
Yep.
And some of these planets that are so intensified with the Force for whatever reason, Lothal is one of these places. And you know, it's one of the reasons that we see Ezra can communicate so easily with wildlife, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
you know,
especially the Loth wolves.
Yeah, animal communication, and we see it too with the fucking giant space whales.
Oh,
which are called the, like,
spoiler alert.
Brian is like, if you haven't seen this shit by now, we're going to get there. But that's one of the things when we're talking about Ezra. This is, you know, Ezra has this connection through the Force with animals.
Yeah,
and it's something that he uses to his benefit, not only to get to a point where he can gain access to the portal, but also in the finality that we'll get to here in a little bit. So
yeah, and now
look, listen, Bronco Fett.
Yeah,
we're not pretending to be right. We're just talking.
Yeah, we're being berated about not watching Clone Wars.
Yeah, we'll watch Clone Wars, goddammit. And this is I will give an appropriate amount of credit. There's plenty of stuff that Filoni and those guys allude to with Clone Wars that we definitely have missed, and we need to go back and we need to see.
Yeah,
but I'll stress the fact that we are talking based on what we've seen. And since we haven't seen Clone Wars, we can't reference it appropriately. So
you will have to forgive us. We will get to it. It is in the works. Don't worry about that.
We'll get there.
So as we're going through this episode 12,
and we'll deny that we were ever wrong.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We're going through this episode 12, and we're introduced to this minister character. Now, first of all, this guy looks just like the fucking dude, again, from Rogue One, that's at Vader's castle when Krennic shows up on Mustafar, and this dude,
the fucking old guy.
Yeah, and he fucking kneels in front of Vader's back to tank.
Guy.
Yeah, this guy, this minister looks just like that guy. I don't know if that's the same person. We never really got that information, but I do think that might be the same guy. I'm listening to him talk, and the second he starts talking, I'm like, that sounds like Malcolm McDowell. And I pull up IMDb, found some very interesting shit on IMDb about these last few episodes. And sure enough, that is Malcolm McDowell. So for anybody who doesn't know, Malcolm McDowell
I'm one of them.
Played Alexander Delarge in one of the greatest movies of all time, A Clockwork Orange. So yes, but he's done fucking everything. Like, he's been in TV shows. He was in one of the fucking Star Trek movies. He's done all kinds of shit. But Malcolm McDowell will always be remembered by his role as Alex in A Clockwork Orange. But yeah, he did the voice, and I knew it was fucking him the second that guy opened his mouth. I'm like, that's Malcolm McDowell. And sure enough, I was right. So pat myself a little bit on the back there.
As you should.
But
not really.
As I was going through IMDb to verify this, I also noticed, which I did not realize before, Ian McDiarmid came back to do the voice of Palpatine.
He did.
I did not realize that he had done that. So I saw that. I'm like, ooh, now I'm even more excited about these last few episodes because the Emperor plays a pretty pivotal role in these last couple episodes.
He does indeed.
Long story short, artwork, fucking Sabine recognizing artwork and fucking hand positions and blah, 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 blah.
So one of the things that when I was doing the Rebels Recon thing, it brought me back to the actual artwork movement and stuff like that. The two-dimensional, the two, it looks like moving art. I thought the animation that they did very, very well.
Oh
with how
yeah,
the art was
beautiful
moving. So
animation.
I was really impressed by that. And they talk about it a little bit in the recon where it's like, they went with a 2-dimensional thing. They had, I guess, a separate animator.
I could see that,
do
yeah.
that and go through that so they would get it right.
Yeah, so
And-
yeah, 2D animation on top of a 3D animation,
Mhm.
which was great.
Really, really, really difficult to do, and they pulled it off. I just thought it was a nice element going into that, and it brought an impact to it that I think that could have very easily been overlooked.
Yeah, and it ultimately opens up this
Excuse me.
portal, this force portal to this nexus, or I don't even know what they called it. I don't think they ever gave it a name besides like the gateway to all time and space, which basically if you're in there, you have access to anything that happened throughout fucking known history. So you can go to any point at any time, and Ezra happens to stumble into this place. And
I don't think he happens to do anything.
well, no, yeah, clearly he was led to this point by the Loth Wolves and by Kanan and everything else, and in the Force in general. But he goes to a point where, and this spans episodes. This spans from episode 12 to 13 because he goes in and you start to hear voices. You hear fucking Yoda talking, and they pulled Yoda dialogue from the original trilogy.
Mhm.
You hear fucking Obi-Wan talking. You hear both Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor talking from their fucking pulled dialogue from their movies. You hear Qui-Gon Jinn, fucking Liam Neeson's voice. You hear Ahsoka. You hear fucking Leia, Maz Kanata. You hear fucking Clone Wars Anakin. You hear all kinds of different voices as he's going through this nexus, this connection of all different time and space in this fucking like. And by the way, there was this one moment too where they're going through like these fucking portals, and it's like this Doctor Who moment where it's like this whole fucking kaleidoscope tunnel that they're going
Yeah.
through, and I'm just like waiting for the fucking Doctor Who head to pop there in the middle. Not that I fucking know what any of that's about, because fuck Doctor Who. But
Agreed.
he comes to a point where he comes to one of these fucking portals that lets him look out into another point in time, and it's Ahsoka fighting Vader at the end of season two.
Season 2, yep.
At the end of season 2, when, as we know, fucking Ahsoka and Vader were fighting, big explosion, Vader fucking limps out, and we're left to believe that Ahsoka is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Ezra reaches through this portal, fucking grabs Ahsoka, and saves her at the last minute before Vader gets caught up in this explosion. So now Ahsoka is fucking alive, and I guess we're led to believe that the only reason she's alive now is because Ezra kind of semi went back in time and fucking grabbed her and saved her at the last second, which is fucking mind blowing at this point. Because I've been a detractor as far as Ahsoka goes, but she was very redeemable in Rebels, and I don't hate her. And seeing her getting rescued and now knowing that she's fucking alive is like, holy shit. That was huge. That was just as big as the fucking Kanan dying moment.
It was big. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think they were equally as big, because I think what it shows you is that it's I went into Wikipedia. It's just called, they call it the portal. The gateway is where the Mortis gods and the riddle and everything else that takes them to the gateway, which takes them to the portal.
Okay.
So the stuff with Ezra stumbling in and getting Ahsoka out is, it really makes you wonder the randomness of that particular act.
Yeah, or was it random? You know.
Well, that's the thing. That particular instance is like, okay, when you see it, and you think about the implications of it, right? Because it happens, and you're like, oh shit, like you can go back and change history,
Yeah.
and manipulate things,
Yeah.
by using this portal, which Ezra does just by happenstance, right? He goes in there and is able to do this. So it really, you understand why the Emperor wants into this fucking thing so bad. And we see coming up later, or within this episode or the next episode.
No, it's this episode, yeah.
So the Emperor is now trying to like basically use Ezra as a way to get into this portal.
Yeah, and I don't think it was ever really explained, but like he appears at one of these fucking gateways, and it's like him fucking like, oh, fucking Ezra and Ahsoka Tano, fuck you.
And it's Ian McDermott as the Emperor, you know, it's, and he's like using the Force and reaching in, but it's obvious that the Emperor cannot get through the gateway.
Right.
And that's what he's using Ezra to try and do that. And the other thing that becomes relevant a little bit later is Ezra having this opportunity to be able to change his past, wanting things to be different.
Right.
Like he verbalizes that, and that becomes crucial later because the Emperor, we come to find out, uses that against him to try and sway him to basically work for the dark side and work for the Emperor.
Yep.
You know, to do what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily as the Emperor, but as Chancellor Palpatine.
Yeah, because in this episode he mentioned like, oh well, I saved you, Ahsoka. Now I can save fucking Kanan. So, and that's the thing. And Ahsoka's like, wait a minute, maybe.
And Ahsoka enables Ezra to like, okay, by Ezra seeing Kanan do this from the perspective that Ahsoka can help him with, he's able to really understand why Kanan did it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about regret. It's more about learning from that. So, and you wondered if he hadn't saved Ahsoka and Ahsoka wasn't there to help him understand this, would he have done something differently?
Yeah.
You know, this thing where you start talking about time and space, and what's weird about Star Wars is that you really don't like this whole space-time thing in canon. They haven't really gotten into now.
Yeah.
In Legends material, the flow walking and being able to do certain things is something that they touched on a lot, especially in later books.
In the later ones, yeah.
Yeah, because in later books, it just started getting into more of like what Luke was doing, you know, post Jedi Academy and everything else, as he was kind of floating through the universe and doing certain things, and then ultimately what Jason was catching up on and trying to find. But anyway, that's a whole nother episode.
Or 100 episodes.
Yeah. So, but regardless, I just there's so much going on here, and the big thing about this whole using this portal element to basically tie Rebels into everything else. Like it is Filoni going, all of the movies, all of the canon, sans holiday special is connected to everything is connected in our Star Wars universe by bringing in those voices and bringing in Clone Wars voices and Qui-Gon,
fucking Alec Guinness,
Guinness's voice and Ewan McGregor's voice, and by tying all these things together, like, and focusing on Force users too.
Yeah,
we're not talking about Han Solo. We're not talking, you know, we're talking about heavy hitters in the world of the Force are all voiced in this portal. So it provides that impact. It's like, if you didn't think that Rebels was a part of this Star Wars universe, you better fucking know it now. And everything that follows this is going to be important for how we go about the future.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna get into that. So let's keep moving then. Long story short, Palpatine shows up, fucking blah, fuck you, and Ahsoka and Ezra get split up. Ezra ends up back with our people. Ahsoka ends up what looks to be that Sith temple, that underground Sith temple where they fought Darth Maul the one time.
Yeah.
Somewhere that looks kind of like that. Was never really explained, kind of irrelevant. But anyway, we know she's alive now. So moving into the next episode, which is the second to last episode, now Ezra's got a fucking plan. And we're rallying up the fucking troops. We're getting everybody together, and we're going for one last big fucking score. So we start off the episode with Rex. We see fucking Hondo. We see that fucking bitch that was a bounty hunter with Sabine. I can't remember her fucking name. The fucking buzz cut lesbian looking chick. And fucking Vizago and the other clones. We go back and we get the other fucking clones that Rex was with. Fucking Wolf. And the fucking retard and fucking what was the other guy's name? Gregor. So
funny you know that name, but not the other guy's name, the retard's name.
Yeah, I don't
know. Funny that.
Yeah. And yeah, now we've got a big plan. We're gonna liberate Lothal, and this is kind of the narrative that goes through the end of the season. And this was the moment where I think I even wrote it in my notes, where it's like, I don't think we're going to see what happens in Rogue One, because if anybody's like really closely following Star Wars canon and everything else, the Ghost is in Rogue One in several shots in Rogue One. there's a point on Yavin 4 where they call for fucking Captain Zendula, like over the intercom.
Right.
Like, Captain Zendula, report to fucking wherever. And then you see the ghost in several fucking scenes at the end during the battle at fucking Scarif. I thought that this show was going to go right up to the point in Rogue One where the fucking that assault happens, and that's where we're going to lose all of our people. That doesn't happen. So my expectations went completely out the fucking window at this point. And I even wrote it.
We know what happens when we have expectations for Star Wars things, right?
Yes, I do. I'm starting to learn that. But yeah, so we've got this like double narrative going here where it's like we're trying to liberate Lothal, and Ezra is still trying to deal with Palpatine, Thrawn, the Force portals, blah blah blah. So there's this whole long thing. We won't get into the details what happens on Lothal. A lot of battles happen, a lot of trickery, like trying to trick Governor Price into thinking that we're surrendering, but we're not, and there's a traitor, but there's not. Whatever. It's watch the fucking show. Long story short, Thrawn comes back. Thrawn basically captures Ezra. He forces Ezra to surrender, or otherwise I'm just gonna fucking carpet bomb your whole fucking planet. You know, all these people you grew up with in your fucking Lothal city. Well, we're just gonna fucking bomb the shit out of it, and they're all gonna be fucking dead unless you surrender. And then while the rest of our rebels are still trying to like, all right, we'll lure the Empire, like everybody that's in the Empire to this fucking dome, that big dome in the middle of the city. We're going to just lure them all in here. We're going to launch this off into space and we're going to fucking blow it up.
Yep.
So you've got these two storylines going on at the same time.
Which the dome is a spaceship, by the way.
Yes.
You didn't figure that out.
Yeah. So that part of the plan works, except for the fact that Thrawn shows back up. They can't fucking launch while Thrawn is there, and their fucking Star Destroyer is blocking the way. So Ezra surrenders, goes up to the Star Destroyer. While Thrawn was away at Coruscant, I guess Palpatine had him reconstruct part of the Jedi Temple that they had broken up on Lothal on Thrawn's fucking Star Destroyer. Which, by the way, did you notice the fucking artwork on the bottom of Thrawn's Star Destroyer, the Chimera that we've heard so much about over the years? There's like a fucking serpent painted on the bottom of that fucking Star Destroyer.
I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, but they made it very apparent in these last couple episodes. It's like this fucking like serpent kind of thing looping over the bottom, which you don't normally see that on fucking Star Destroyers. But on Thrawn's, it is clear as fucking day. So yeah, you should look that up. And this is where we get to the point that you were talking about, where Ezra has his talk with Palpatine, but it's not fucking old rickety crickety fucking Palpatine as the Emperor. It's the young Palpatine from episode 1.
Yeah, and friendly Grandpa Palpatine.
Yeah, where he fucking
go for Papa Palpatine.
Yeah, where the same Palpatine that manipulated Anakin into becoming Darth Vader. It was it was that version of Palpatine that he projected himself to look like when he was talking to Ezra.
That thing?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
With the fucking the twin serpents kind of going around. Yeah, it's very apparent when you watch the episode.
All right.
And this reconstructed Jedi Temple apparently has one of those portals, which they were never really 100% clear as to how that was duplicated. And if they were able to duplicate that, then why didn't Palpatine just fucking go through and do his whole thing? Or maybe he did already. I don't fucking know. But he was tempting Ezra with his parents, right? Because that's been the whole fucking theme since episode 1 of this fucking show is Ezra's parents, and are they dead? Are they alive? You know, what could have been had his parents not died?
Because he had never really had any closure with his parents.
Yeah.
It's been this it's been an ongoing story throughout all 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. And this is kind of what Palpatine was trying to use. And I think it was more just him trying to get Ezra out of his fucking way. Like, again, I don't want to dip into Star Trek references, but if you remember Star Trek Generations, they had the fucking Nexus, which was like whatever heaven you wanted, all you had to do was think it, and then you were there. And
one of the best Star Wars or Star Trek movies, by the by.
And I think this was Palpatine's plan. Was he's just like, no, go be with your parents. You know, you just walk through this door, and everything it's like none of this shit ever happened. You'll get to be with your parents. Life will be good. And
where have we seen this before? We've seen this in Star Wars before.
Have we?
Yeah.
Is this a pop quiz or?
Yeah. Where have we seen this before in Star Wars?
Are we talking
Where,
cinematic?
where a dark side user has tricked somebody.
Well, I mean, fucking Palpatine and Anakin.
Okay. We'll come back to this.
Okay. But yeah, so
Bronco Fett wants to clarify that it's not a serpent, it is a Y salami.
if that is true, that is fucking brilliant because the Ysalamari were from that original fucking Heir to the Empire trilogy, that book trilogy, the first fucking appearance of Thrawn back in 1991, where the Ysalamari were like these creatures that could block the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And this Thrawn, this fucking action figure came with one of those motherfuckers that wrapped around his neck. And it's where basically, like, a long story short, Thrawn fucking came to the Sith guy. The Sith guy went to go fucking force shock Thrawn, but he had the Ysalamari around his neck, and it's like nothing happened. It just like blocked it. They blocked the Force, basically.
Right.
Never really talked about again after that trilogy, as far as I know, but that would be fucking dope if that's what those things on the bottom of the Chimera were. Anyway.
I have no reason to doubt Bronco Fett in this matter.
Yeah. So going back to that, yeah, that was, I think that was Palpatine's plan, was just to get Ezra out of my fucking hair because this is another fucking Force user that's going to fuck with my plans. So I'm going to bait him with his fucking parents. He'll live happily ever after in this alternate reality where his parents like were never fucking traitors or anything like that. Obviously, Ezra says no. He says, fuck off. Palpatine gets pissed and his projection immediately becomes fucking, old man Darth Sidious, fucking evil Palpatine projection, which is just hilarious. Like, why does it matter what his hologram projection is? So, all right.
Well, this is what makes it, when you think about, I'll come back to that. When you think about the, how important is Ezra? Like throughout this whole thing, Ezra is, obviously he's a Force user, so he's important to the rebellion.
Yeah.
But you don't really get this impression. Maybe I'm just being naive, but I didn't get the impression that like he was so critical to the storyline.
On a galactic level, no. As far as Lothal goes, he seems pivotal.
Right. And so you wonder like, why is the Emperor, why does he have to use this trickery to take Ezra off the table? Because Ezra's not that powerful as a Jedi. Yeah, he's got some ability, but he's the fucking Emperor. You would think that if he really needed him out of the way, he would have just, I'll strike you down.
True. But I mean, I think as far as Ezra's importance goes, it feels like by the end of this, like,
what happens if Ezra dies?
Well, you have to think that, well, first of all, they're not going to retake Lothal. They're not going to oust the Empire from Lothal because of what Ezra does to end this series.
Right.
I feel like Lothal is the first domino to fall.
Does the Emperor need Ezra alive to take out Thrawn?
I didn't think this had anything to do with Thrawn. I thought this was more about Lothal, and Lothal was that first domino that falls in the process of the rebellion and everything else.
Let's take this apart. So you have Ezra, right? The Emperor was trying to use Ezra to get into the portal.
Yes.
Right, one way or the other. So we know that Ezra has some importance there. Okay,
yes, for sure.
For the entrance to the portal. We know that the Emperor, for whatever reason, could just fucking off Ezra, but doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, I guess
we have to assume that a full up fucking master of the dark side.
Yeah.
As Palpatine, we have to assume he is.
Right. Like,
be able to take out some fucking basically Padawan.
Yeah, because he could have fucked off to Lothal and just been like, all right, I'm gonna handle this myself and just fucking cut Ezra down.
I feel like he could have done it through the Force and taken him out because he's able to do all this other stuff. So it leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe, that the Emperor needed Ezra to not only gain entry to the portal, which didn't work because Ezra wasn't buying it, right? Because he didn't buy the whole thing with his parents. He let his parents go. So now the Emperor loses that leverage. However, still doesn't necessarily kill Ezra. Because what the Emperor is fully fixed on the Death Star.
Yes.
But can't afford to lose Thrawn as a general because Thrawn is winning battles. He's, he's basically the guy who, if for nothing else, he is the genius that is running the Imperial Navy.
He's the smartest guy in the room,
right?
No matter what room he's in.
So you can't, and maybe we know from reading Thrawn and Alliances that Thrawn is smarter than the Emperor in ways like this, because Thrawn isn't necessarily thinking about the same things that the Emperor is thinking about. The Emperor is thinking about galactic domination through fear, where Thrawn is thinking about winning the war.
Yes.
So you have a very tactical thinker as opposed to a very like maniacal, like, you know, Hitler type character, right? So, but the Emperor probably knows this and knows that he can't necessarily take Thrawn out. Thrawn's not a Force user, so he can't reach out through the Force and necessarily take him out and or manipulate him that way. So maybe the Emperor knows that Ezra and Thrawn are tied together. So, and that ultimately Ezra is the one that's going to take care of Thrawn. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So you think that the Emperor is kind of afraid of Thrawn at this point?
I think that the Emperor knows that he has to keep Thrawn around for at some point, but if he's going to get rid of Thrawn and get rid of this whole idea of wasting resources and everything else, because he knows he's never going to turn Thrawn into saying, okay, you got a shit can of TIE Defender.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're moving shit, but Thrawn ultimately was going to continue to build the TIE Defender. That's why he was so pissed off at Price, because it fucking
that derailed the whole factory.
Right. Yeah. So now Thrawn is without that leverage. So I don't know. I think there's a point where it's not a coincidence that Ezra and Thrawn are tied together, and that ultimately Ezra is the one to take Thrawn basically out of the picture.
Yeah.
This is why now Filoni himself, and I'm jumping ahead, but Filoni himself has said that he doesn't believe that Thrawn or Ezra are dead.
Right, and they allude to that at the end of this episode. So, all right, let's hop to this point because we've talked about it enough. Ezra says no, fuck off, Palpatine. Palpatine gets pissed, but he can't do anything. Ezra goes to the Bridge of the Chimera, and oh god, so they call. He tells this kid that other X-wing pilot, like, hey, just in case, I want you to fucking radio out on frequency 0, and you know, if shit hits the fan, and then everything will be fine. As soon as I heard that, I fucking knew it. I'm like, he's gonna call those fucking space whales, isn't he? And from fucking, what was this, like season 1 or 2 of the fucking series?
I think it was season 2.
Yeah, I'm like, I heard frequency 0, and they're like, no, nobody's ever used frequency 0 in fucking no millennia. I'm like, he's calling those fucking space whales. And sure enough, those fucking space whales show up, fucking just wreak havoc on the Empire. All the Star Destroyers that were in orbit over Lothal. They grab the fucking Chimera that Ezra and fucking Thrawn are on the bridge of. They grab it with their fucking tentacles. They grab fucking Thrawn. Ezra's in there making sure Thrawn doesn't escape. And they go to fucking light speed. Because remember, these fucking space whales can go to fucking light speed.
Right.
For some reason. And that's it. They fucking grab the Chimera. They grab Thrawn. They grab Ezra. And they just fucking boom, out of here. Yeah. So at first you're kind of led to believe that, oh, well, because they broke through the fucking glass in the cockpit of the fucking Chimera, when they go to light speed, it's going to fucking just incinerate anybody that's inside. But we're kind of led to believe as the show goes on that, no, they're not dead. And we got to go find them now. So, and that's how this ends. The whales come in, they clean house with the fucking Star Destroyers that were over Lothal. They launch the fucking Thunderdome and commit mass fucking murder when they destroy it with fucking tens of thousands of fucking Imperials on board.
Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah. And I was watching this on actual Veterans Day on November 11th, by the way.
The space whales are called Purgils, by the way.
They're fucking space whales. That's the only thing.
I agree with you.
That's the only thing I will ever call
space
them.
Whales with giant tentacles.
Yeah. But that's it. Like they blow up the Thunderdome. Fucking all the Imperials that were on Lothal are fucking dead. And like everything that was in orbit is fucking gone because of the whales. Ezra and Thrawn are fucking who knows where, because the whales just grabbed the fucking Star Destroyer and went to light speed to who knows where the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it ends. And then it's like celebrations, and it's like, you know, on fucking Lothal. And it's like,
cue the throne room.
Yeah. Wow, that takes a long time.
I really wish I could hear it though, because I get goosebumps every time I hear that.
Yeah. And but that's it.
No, I could hear it. I could hear it the whole time.
Yeah. So
space weather.
So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. We've still got a lot of people alive. So roll call. Let's do a roll call of everybody who's still alive.
Good job.
At the end of this. So
Where are we in your notes?
We're right here and then here.
Okay.
So roll call. Still alive. Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Rex, Agent Callus, fucking Ryder, Wolf, another one of the clones, Chopper, Hondo, his little pigman sidekick, Vizago, and Ahsoka, all still alive at the end of this fucking thing. And then we go into the epilogue, and this was fucking crazy. So now we're flash forwarding a good like 5 years, something like that. Whatever the fucking timeline between New Hope and the end of Return of the Jedi is. And it's Sabine narrating what happens from here. You know, she talks about how fucking Zeb takes Callus to that fucking planet where all of the Lasats are. Remember when they fucking colonized that new planet to like fucking start breeding Lasats again?
Right.
So because remember, Callus thought that he had like eliminated all of the Lasats. And at first he was like, yeah, fuck all those Lasats. I killed them all. But then as he, you know, started to turn, maybe he felt a little bit guilty. And now there's some resolution there between him and Zeb and the rest of the Lasats when he sees that, okay, they're still alive and they're starting to thrive again. So I guess that kind of helps like lift some of that guilt that he had.
Right.
And it even said like they accepted him as one of their own. So boom, resolution to that little storyline there. They mentioned that Hera and Rex both fought at the Battle of Endor, because we know Hera fought at Scarif, because we talked about that at length.
Right.
And now we know that Hera survived all the way up to the Battle of Endor. So, and we know that apparently Rex is still alive, at least up to Endor. So they fought at that. Then they
How old must Rex be at that point? I mean,
Well,
the
yeah, with
advanced
the-
aging with the clones.
Yeah, so he's got to be like damn near fucking dead by the end of. He's got to look like Stan Lee by the end of.
I was going to make a
Stan.
Stanley thing, but I felt like that would have been in bad
Too
taste. Thanks,
soon.
Jason.
Too soon. Yeah, but yeah, he definitely was, you know, staring, or he had one foot in the grave at that point. And then they show the fucking scene with fucking Jason Syndulla, Hera's fucking son, who looks exactly like a fucking human. They don't say who the dad is,
Right.
but they just mention that he's got his mother's fucking spunk and his fucking dad's whatever. And you're just like, holy shit. So you have to assume at this point that this kid is fucking Hera and Kanan's son. That's the only way that we could fucking possibly take this at this point. So before Kanan left this world, he laid down some pipe and spread his seed a little bit. And now we have a little fucking...
Got himself a little Twi'lek ass.
Yeah, which, by the way, no fucking Lekus on this kid at all. He's just got some like pointy ears. Looks like a Vulcan.
100% pure. Oh, shit. I can't remember. There was a Matrix line there that I forgot. Disregard.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
But yeah, I guess we're led to believe that this is fucking Kanan's kid. All right, let's loop around back to that, because I have something to say about that. But until then we get one last shot. That's Sabine, clearly an older Sabine at this point, easily 5 years older, even more chopped off hair, taller, whatnot. And she's like, so Ezra, you know, he told me that you have to take care of things, or whatever the fuck the line was. And she assumed that meant
You always back me up.
Yeah. And she assumed that meant the liberation of Lothal, when now she realizes, oh no, and this is the quote I wrote down, Ezra's out there somewhere, and it's time to bring him home. And then you see a scene of fucking Sabine and fucking Ahsoka, who is still fucking alive, get onto a ship, and now they're going out to find Ezra. This is, remember, post Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
And fucking Sabine, fucking Ahsoka, and now we're led to believe that Ezra is still alive, and now they're going to go out and find him. So it's like, holy fucking shit. They left so much out there on the table, so many avenues to explore.
Yep.
It's like, oh my God, what does this mean for the future of Star Wars canon at this point?
Well, I think that honestly, this is what Dave Filoni. Yeah. Fuck you,
Dave Filoni.
There was my phone wigged out. That's why I misspoke. Dave Filoni alluded to this when they did the final episode on the how you doing on that recon thing, where he's like, he would never speculate what had happened to Jason or to Ezra and Thrawn
Right.
and everything else, because if he ever got the opportunity to continue something with that, then that's how he would want to tell it. He want to tell it the right way.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect, like, it's the perfect way to guarantee that you're going to have a chance to, like, all right, if we ever go down this road, then guess who's going to have to write it, because I'm the one who fucking came up with this. Now, of course, we know that could change, but Filoni is the golden boy of of the Star Wars universe right now.
Of all of Lucasfilm.
And fucking for good reason too.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing that really shocked me throughout this whole thing.
Go ahead. Remind me, Bronco Fett has an interesting theory.
All right. But yeah, the thing that surprised me was how many people fucking lived through this. Like, I was fully expecting a Rogue One like ending, and everybody was going to be dead.
Nuke 'em.
Yeah.
And everyone's fucking dead.
Yeah. And surprisingly, no. Like, Kanan is really the only major death that we had. It's a little ambiguous as to what happened to Ezra and Thrawn,
right?
But we're, for all intents and purposes, we're led to believe that they're still alive.
Out of Filoni's own mouth, he says that they're alive. So we have no reason to believe that that's not the case.
Yeah. So this just opens up the door for so many possibilities. And the first thing that I thought about after this, going back to Hera and her kid, let's assume that her kid is fucking Kanan's kid also, because that's,
according to Wikipedia, then that's a fact.
Okay. Well, then more than likely he ended up at Luke's Jedi Academy. Like, why wouldn't he at this point? The son of a fucking Force user, as part of the Rebel Alliance, whose mother was deeply entrenched in the Rebel Alliance. There's no fucking way Luke would not have had some sort of knowledge that this kid existed, had some Force abilities. And when Luke took Ben Solo and a dozen other students to his academy, you would think that Jason Syndulla would be one of them. So, that being the case, Jason Syndulla, the son of Kanan and Hera, is probably either a Knight of Ren or is fucking dead right now. That's something interesting to think about.
It is interesting. That's an interesting. Yeah, because then. Well, I mean, look, we don't necessarily have to draw that conclusion.
No, but I mean, if you think about it logically,
sure. But we also don't know the extent of what Luke did to create this academy. Did he go and harvest all of the Force users he could find, or was it a select group? You know, maybe he leaves out somebody like Jason Syndulla, because maybe by that point he's part of, some other part of the rebellion, or part of, not necessarily part of the resistance. Maybe he's part of something
of the Republic. Maybe he's like a senator in the New Republic or some shit like that.
There's a whole storyline there that's unexplored.
Yeah,
it is interesting though. If Luke does go down that road, it's like, okay, let me pull people that I know to start this academy.
Yeah,
and to include his nephew. Then why wouldn't they do that? So it's
just something to think about. And we may never find out, or we may find out as early as a year and a half from now.
So there's an interesting conversation going on in the chat right now. It was brought up by Bronco Fett. He says Ezra is Snoke, right?
I don't think the ages line up too well with that.
How old is Snoke? We don't know how old he is. We don't know what could have possibly happened. Yeah. What do space whales traveling through light speed and you're exposed to the atmosphere, what does that do to your body?
That is true.
Does it split your face open? Although we have been told that Snoke is not human,
right? Like
he's a biped, but he's not necessarily human.
True.
So that kind of puts that into a wash if we're like having a serious conversation about it.
I mean, it's a fun little theory, but realistically it's probably not going to happen. But the thing that I'm most happy about is the fact that we know that Thrawn is probably alive out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I just assumed was going to happen. Like, I just assumed that they were going to kill Thrawn off by the end of season 4. And I was really bummed about that. Because after reading the new Thrawn books, Thrawn and Thrawn Alliances, I'm like, this is such a good fucking character. Why can't they somehow, transfer him into the new canon
Right.
and like into the new movies and all that? And I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna kill him in fucking Rebels, so it doesn't really matter. He ain't fucking dead.
Snoke is Dengar.
No, that would be funny. So I doubt that they'll do this, but they could somehow tie Thrawn into episode 9 as like the person who was already out there in the unknown regions when the First Order fucking recouped itself and met Snoke and all that and then came back. I doubt they'll do it, but if nothing else, we're probably going to get more Thrawn stories out of this.
Look, if we're going to try and make a tie into episode 9 purely on a theoretical basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that the First Order is so extreme. Like, it's basically, if you were going to clone the Emperor, right? So we know that we had these, I forget what they were called, but we had basically the Emperor, AIs that were walking around in the red fucking
things.
the
messengers.
The messengers,
thank
you. So you had the messengers, and if the Emperor is creating this First Order out of his own image, then it's not going to be like a kindler, gentler fucking force. It's going to be even more fucking maniacal and even more over the top as far as like how far they're willing to go.
Yeah, it would probably sound something a little bit like this.
I can't understand you. Go back to your country.
That's what I would think that the First Order sounds like.
I hope they die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah.
So given all that, I think that the idea that the First Order, like if the Emperor creates this whole thing, if Thrawn was involved in any of that at all, you would have so much more tactics. The First Order, basically, they went back to plan A. They went, all right, build giant planet blower upper gun and fucking blow up more planets in one shot this time.
Yeah.
Have bigger Star Destroyers. And like, we look at everything the First Order does, and it's like, it's an exponential order greater than what the Empire had done.
Yeah.
So if Thrawn was involved in any of that at all, I would imagine there'd be a lot more like tactical advantage. You wouldn't have the space naval battle where like the ships are just trailing behind the rebel ships and lobbing weak fucking cannons out at them. You
had to fucking bring that up, didn't you?
Like you did in episode 8. So I don't think Thrawn's involved in that, but I do think that if you're basically, by having this end the way it did, you're putting Thrawn and Ezra in a place where they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can come back to them later. That's what the greatest part about this particular ending is, because so many people are alive and so much is going on. You can pick up these characters wherever you want to. You can bring Sabine, Ahsoka, Ezra, Thrawn, all those people out on their adventures, and you can bring them right back into it and have a smooth transition in the timeline because you were able to do this.
Yeah.
Is it a little bit fucking hokey the way they did it with the fucking space whales? Yeah, I think so. But they reached back into something that they'd already done. And to quote one of the writers or one of the voice actors, I can't remember who it was, but they said that, this thing with the space whales that you thought was just a throwaway thing.
Yeah, it was like a one-off.
Like a filler episode, right? They used the word filler. Like, you thought this was a filler, but hey, here it is.
Yeah.
We brought it back.
We're bringing it back.
We're bringing back space whales. So who is Tommy Oliver? Anyway, so it's a really good way to end it if you're looking at, okay, how do we continue on in this particular Star Wars universe and with these characters, as opposed to having a Rogue One style ending, which I still believe it probably would have worked if you had a Rogue One style thing.
Yeah.
Like, in an epic battle over, I want to say Sarlacc. That's not the fucking Scarif.
Yeah.
When you're over Scarif and you could lose these, you could lose a Sabine, you could lose a Zeb, like in a part of the space battle, and maybe Hera just escapes, or somehow Hera's not in the Ghost, Hera's in an X-wing, and then the Ghost and Chopper move on to something else. They could have very easily done that, and every one of us would have gone, okay, sad to see these characters end, but it's the end of the series. We don't see these people in any of the canon.
Yeah,
it makes sense. but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So
and you know, maybe it's because we probably all expected that. You know, we all
Maybe.
expected them all to die, so they're just like, yeah, we'll just let them live, and we'll just figure it out another time, or you know, maybe we'll never hear from them again.
I think this is Dave Filoni's kind of stamp on this. Like,
Yeah,
he's more than willing to let George Lucas's universe breathe,
Yeah.
and not necessarily, you don't have to eliminate characters just for the sake of doing it. Like, if nothing else, we know that Filoni is a student of George.
Yes.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
consults George a lot with those decisions and things like that. So we're getting a really, I don't know. We got a good product. You know, do I think it was the best ending ever? No, not really. But I think they tied things. They didn't really necessarily even tie anything off, but it was like, this is the completion, and then have a appropriate epilogue, so you're not just left completely hanging. You have an idea of a little bit, what happens at the end. So,
but
really? What?
But at this point, I mean, it's so open ended. Like it could go anywhere or it could go nowhere, and it really wouldn't affect things either way. Like they could have these grand stories take place afterwards.
How long have we been going?
2 hours and 10 minutes.
Perfect.
But yeah, it was a great ending. It was unexpected. It was still emotional, especially with the reveal of the kid, of Kanan and Hera's kid, and Ahsoka still being alive and fucking being like, now we gotta go find Ezra. So that's our next mission. And with Kanan dying a few episodes before that, it was great. The whole season 4 was fucking, I thought, was really, really good. Still some filler content, but overall, like, so satisfying as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, and this was the reason that I wanted to do Rebels.
Yeah,
you know, because you think about where we are with Thrawn alliances, even, and you know, getting the Thrawn character involved and things like that. I just thought it was appropriate to get her done, which we did. Hooray! So I think that just my impression of the overall Rebels series. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit as we've gone along, but I really, for something that was more likely geared towards a younger audience, I think there was enough content in there to have hardcore Star Wars fans follow it.
Yeah.
And when we go back to Clone Wars, which we will, ultimately, I think that it's going to fill in the blanks for some things that we've speculated about today.
Yep.
And in the past, we speculated.
Yes.
Which one speculates? Sure. What am I saying? It's I enjoyed Rebels. I enjoyed Rebels almost start to finish. You know, there were some weak parts in there, and there were some storylines that just were, like you said, were kind of fillers and throwaways. But overall, I think that this Rebels really, it brought, if nothing else, this is the introduction for, much like Clone Wars was, but even I think Rebels even more so. This is such an introduction into the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
With characters that weren't part of the original movies.
No.
But you can watch the original movies and the prequels and still have a feel for what was happening.
Yeah, and that's
You know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
Like it puts you in a believable Star Wars universe, much like Rogue One did, as a spin-off Star Wars movie, and even Solo, where it's like, okay, this isn't the core Star Wars movies, but this is still Star Wars. You can tell, you can feel it. Rogue One felt the exact, or not Rogue One, but Rebels felt the exact same way.
Yeah, it's like almost like a temperature thing. Like even though the temperature was a little bit different, it still was Star Wars.
Yeah,
just aesthetically and everything else. Like the colors change and the actors change, but it's still Star Wars, and that's why I think it was good. So, what? Mon Calamari before it was Dak.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. We'd have to go back into the chat and see and catch up. But
yeah, there's like a whole shitload of chat that we missed. Which is why I need a fucking laptop right here. Which is why we've got to redesign the whole fucking studio and everything because I need my fucking laptop right here. We need our dual cameras.
We do need dual cameras. So we need to get that work done.
Yeah. So lots of stuff. It's got to be done.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It's good.
This was a long discussion, over 2 hours worth. So you're welcome, fucking Big Lovin'. Because I know he's been clamoring for these long ass episodes. We still haven't hit like the 2.5, 245 episodes that
Thank
I know
God.
he was used to.
I need more Diet Coke.
Yeah. But
of which I have plenty, but still.
And at this point, I don't think we have anything on the docket for next week. So we got to start talking about that.
Oh, we do indeed.
Yeah.
There was a great however brief, but a good conversation about some Legends material here. So
yeah. And I wouldn't mind dipping into that at some point, getting into some of the Legends stuff, even though it'll be kind of hard to, well, I don't know how hard it would be to delineate Legends from current canon and all that.
Look, I will say it. I said it in the chat and I'll say it aloud, and I've said it before and I will say it again.
Mm-hmm.
The latter part of the Legends material with the Luke Skywalker storyline with Jason Solo and Jaina Solo, or however the hell you
Jaina.
Jaina. Is that how you pronounce that?
Jaina. Yeah, just like Jaina. Jaina.
You make it seem like it's that simple. It's never been that simple in my own head. Anyway,
you're overthinking it, is what you're doing.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that ever.
Yeah,
but
right.
So yes, do Republic Commando is what Bronco Fett is.
Jesus Christ. All right, fine time. We'll fucking do it soon.
Soon.
Not next week. That's too soon to read a whole fucking book.
Indeed is too soon. And we have a fucking holiday special.
Yes.
Because of the generosity of our fans.
Yes.
And we also have to start our planning meetings for the football podcast.
Yeah, which may come next week.
Maybe. Why not?
I mean, that's
what the hell.
Seems like a good time to do it. Yeah, it's just, we'll put the football part for the first 45 minutes at the beginning.
Yep.
We'll stop, restart for the Star Wars stuff. Two podcasts for the price of one.
Kick them in the deck. All right. So
we'll figure out what we do next week. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta fucking do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yeah,
we need that. We do need that.
That's why the fuck did we not add that to the soundboard? That's like the first fucking thing we should have had on the soundboard.
Great kid. Don't get cocky.
It's interesting how we have like Star Wars, fart.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have the fart noise. It's like I ran the douche. And then you had to have the sacred text on there.
Sacred text.
Which, by the way,
Sacred Jedi text.
I think that worked perfectly last week when we did that. So.
I haven't listened to the podcast version of the podcast.
Yeah.
There's the YouTube version and there's the podcast version.
Right.
So
right.
like I've downloaded it, obviously, because everybody should.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should download it. Give us 5-star reviews.
Yes.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Get into the All Things Star Wars Sidebar Cantina.
If we like you.
Do all of these things. Yes, if you have to be vetted first, and not vetted. Although if you are
vets get priority.
Vets do get priority.
Yes.
But your Leku has to be exposed. Just saying.
And yes, Tom, college football will be part of the football.
I answered him.
Okay. Oh,
yeah. Of course, college football is going to be involved. But like I said, we have to educate Jason on what college football is because he doesn't know. He doesn't. Look at him. He doesn't know. He does not know.
You don't know what I don't know.
I have a pretty good idea. I have a pretty good idea what you don't know.
All right. But I guess that's it. Otherwise, we throw out the social media. Follow us everywhere.
I like how I squeaked the social media into there.
It was good.
That was good. Good transition.
Yeah. We're learning.
Of which I did not have to refer to it again like that. And then I did.
Yeah.
So it would have been smooth until I started talking about it being smooth. And now it's not smooth.
Yeah, it becomes a lot less smooth when
it
you
is
reference
a lot less
it.
Smooth. Right.
So, all right. Well, thank you everybody who joined us in the chat. Thank you to everybody who's been downloading the show. By the way, I don't know what it is with us and fucking podcast hosting services, but there's an issue going on right now with our current fucking host, which we'll talk about after the show. But I don't know why. Why can't this ever fucking be easy?
I don't know. Maybe we're too popular.
Could be. Because like our numbers were really fucking going up. And then all of a sudden Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But until then, we'll figure out what the fuck we're doing next week. If you want to find out early, follow us in the Star Wars, All Things Star Wars Sidebar Cantina private Facebook group. Yes.
What he said.
Yes. And until then, to all the listeners, and especially to you, Dave, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Okay, now what do I click?